The information shared in these conversations and videos are intended for general knowledge and entertainment purposes only. It should not be considered as legal advice or professional guidance. Additionally, any documentation or references to specific content are solely for the purpose of discussion and understanding. It does not imply endorsement, promotion, or support of said content. The views expressed in these videos and/or conversation are those of the individuals involved and do not represent any official stance or opinion. The content you are about to experience may contain strong language, including explicit words and phrases. This language is used for artistic expression and may be integral to the storyline or character development. It is important to note that the use of such language does not endorse or promote offensive behavior. Viewer discretion is advised, and please enjoy the show responsibly. Disclaimer. Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, education, and research. The Canadian Copyright Act, Section 29, allows an individual to use copyright-protected materials when creating a new work such as a mashup and to post the new work online on a website like YouTube. Fair dealing provision for specific purposes like research, private study, education, parody, satire, criticism, review, and news reporting.
Step up, step up! Yeah! We pledge! We pledge! We pledge! We pledge! Yeah! Step in the arena, mind locked and loaded. Truth on my blade, every line's exploded. You swing your words, I counter with precision. Battle of reason, this is my mission. Raise your fist, let them know. No. Raise your voice, let it blow. Woo! We clash our swords of reason. Cut through like no retreating. Yeah. No fear, no chain, no treason. Woo. We clash our swords of reason. Woo. We clash our swords of reason. Cut through like no retreating. Yeah. No fear, no chain, no treason. Woo. We clash our swords of reason. Woo. Step back, I'm a scholar and a fighter. Every claim you throw, I strike tighter. Logic and power, I never fold. In the war of words, I'm solid gold. Raise your fist, let them know. Whoa. Raise your voice, let it blow. Woo. We clash our swords of reason. Cut through like no retreating. Yeah. No fear, no chain, no treason. Woo. We clash our swords of reason. Woo. We clash our swords of reason. Cut through like no retreating. Yeah. No fear, no chain, no treason. Woo. We clash our swords of reason. Every thought a fortress, every claim a storm. We forge a truth where chaos takes form. Ideas ignite like lightning through the night. In the war of minds, we bring the light. Step in, feel the heat. Truth is my weapon, never beat. Raise them high, break the ceiling. With a fire, with a feeling. We clash our swords of reason. Cut through like no retreating. No fear, no chain, no treason. We clash our swords of reason. We clash our swords of reason. Cut through like no retreating. No fear, no chain, no treason. We clash our swords of reason. We clash our swords of reason. Cut through like no retreating. No fear, no chain, no treason. We clash our swords of reason.
Welcome, everybody, to Swords of Reason, right here on the Speakeasy Show, Mondays, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays. This is where logic meets passion. If you're new here, the format is simple. Each debater gets 10 minutes for their opening statements, followed by 5 minutes of uninterrupted rebuttals. After that, we're going to enter the arena for a full hour of back and forth debate. This is where the arguments can clash and the iron sharpens the iron. And finally, each side will deliver a 5-minute closing statement to lock in their case. When that's done, we're going to move into a 30-minute Q&A. We'll drop the Q&A in the chat for you guys, but keep in mind the super chats, Rumble rants, PayPal, and Cash App questions will take priority. So if they fill up the entire 30 minutes, the free chat questions may not get answered. So if there's something you want guaranteed to be asked, make sure you send it through one of the priority options. Once the final debate wraps up, we open the doors for a chaos and chill open panel. This is where the community can hop in, challenge the debaters, ask follow-ups if the debaters choose to stick around, because that part is optional for them. But it's always where things get wild regardless. Today's debate prompt: Anarcho-capitalism versus National Socialism. Which is the better system? And entering the arena tonight, we have a debater whose worldview steps outside the usual political battle lines, identifying as a anarcho-corporatist.
He approaches his politics from a perspective that challenges many of the systems people take for granted. And making his official Swords of Reason debut, steps into the arena tonight, taking the affirmative position for that anarcho-capitalism is the superior system over National Socialism. Having tested his ideas across different open panels tonight, he's going to put his worldview on trial under the lights. Okay, here's the thing: he doesn't have content links for you to go follow just yet. So if he leaves an impression tonight, you're going to have to keep your eyes open and your ears to the ground, because sometimes names are built in moments exactly like these. Everybody, let's welcome Darth Tyrannus. And do I pronounce that right? I've been saying it like this, and I think I'm saying it wrong. Am I saying that right?
It's close enough. It's pronounced Darth Tyrannus.
Tyrannus. Okay, that actually sounds better too. That sounds hard. Tyrannus. See, when I'm saying it sounded weird.
Yeah, don't worry. Nobody gets it right.
Awesome. Well, welcome, Darth Tyrannus, and thank you for being here. And for the National Socialism side, known for tackling the hottest cultural flashpoints, throwing down in political debates, and making frequent appearances in open panels across the platforms. All right. He brings a sharp take with the twist of internet chaos. An aspiring professional memester, he's mastered the art of turning viral moments into conversation starters. And if that's not enough, he also hosts a spin the wheel show where viewers can pay to roll the dice and ignite some truly fire discussions. All right, so whether it's policy, culture, or pure panel madness, Teriak comes ready to stir the pot and keep the chat alive. So everybody give a welcome to Teriak, and thank you for being here tonight. And with that being said, we've decided on a coin flip backstage that Darth Tyrannus is going to be going first for the open statement. So Darth Tyrannus, whenever you're ready for your opening statement, I will start the timer up with your voice.
First, let me share my screen so I can do a PowerPoint.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay.
Bring that down, bring that up, and I'll make it big for you. Just a second. There you go. It's all yours. Right. And if you're getting close to the end, I'll let you know when there's a minute left.
Okay. All right, then. Everybody knows the title of the debate, so no need to go over that. The thing is, me and my opponent are revolutionaries. We both acknowledge that there's problems with all the other systems. We accept that democracy, monarchism, and communism are all trash. And to a degree, I do agree with him. The Nationalist Socialist is one of the few ideologies I think stands the test of time, because as discussed by George Lincoln Rockwell, for those who don't know, he was a World War II veteran, and he was a World War II veteran that saw that the war was nothing but a big trick. He's one of the first to actually criticize the Allies and their whole victory. George Penn is also a well-known critiquer of the Allies towards near the end of the war, and he was killed for his troubles. Now, what is anarcho-capitalism? I think everybody knows what anarcho-capitalism is. It's a political and philosophical belief that we should abolish the state and just favor a purely free market. Now, I think within every anarcho-capitalist is a Hoppian. We are right-wingers. Fundamentally, we oppose liberalism, not just in the economic sense, but in the cultural sense. So we are culturally conservative. There are, anarcho-capitalists who, tend to use drugs. Well-known anarcho-capitalist who's a drug user would be. There's some out there. Doesn't matter. So, what is better? I think we need to kind of address the subjective properties of what better means in this context. Better how? Better for who? I mean, is it better for liberty? Better for prosperity? Better for the economy? I think so. I think the anarcho-capitalist system is going to be better in the long run. I don't think we can go back to the 1930s and the 1940s and go on these wars of attritions. The wars of attritions are over. On a metaphysical level, all political systems have an appeal to make, and this is like we all assume things about reality to justify our worldview. Anarcho-capitalism also has the groundwork of philosophy. It is apocalyptic, not in the sense that we're chasing some catastrophic end to the world, but we're here to disclose, to uncover. But the question is, what are we pulling back the veil on? We're pulling back the veil on the idea of secular authority, the sham for which causes to control all of the world. We don't acknowledge governments who have legitimate authority. What government is, what the state is just a preference. It has no. It is just people with preferences imposing those preferences on others. God isn't a socialist. God isn't a communist. He isn't a monarchist. If God was any of those things, he would have sent an angel and established a government. He doesn't believe in governments because he's the only authority. But again, this isn't really what the debate's about. This is just to provide a metaphysical grounding for the ideology of anarchism. So back to better for what? I think the reason anarcho-capitalism is better is because it has better production, and it has progress, and it has liberty. And I think from these three things, I think that leads to a better, happier people. And I don't mean that like in a liberal sense that we're going to be more like some sort of hippie commune. All right, next slide. So when I say better, I mean better for you. The anarcho-capitalist takes the position: the person who would do what's best for you, it's gonna be you. Historically, the state has never done what's better for the individual. Even though we might disagree with the individuals on what they think is better, it is often better not to aggress against them, for they will aggress against you. So I think production is better for you under anarcho-capitalism because we don't have to deal with bureaucratic permits that kind of limit people on property. A big emphasis here is that we have this problem with housing. That's not a problem under anarcho-capitalism because under this current system, the reason you can't get houses built is because of government regulation. Sometimes you have to wait up to like 5 years to get a permit. If there's no regulation, if there's no government, who's going to stop you from making a house? I think also we provide more progress. So we provide better ways, faster ways of making technology, making houses, the stuff people actually want. Yes, and that includes tanks. And of course, you need liberty to even have production. They kind of go hand in hand: production, progress, and liberty. So how is it going to be better? Again, it's going to be better for the wealth, because from that wealth, people can progress beyond their own needs. And that stops them from merely focusing on their own survival because they're hungry. And that allows them to expand the progress beyond just themselves, just beyond their own individual ego. But you also need the liberty to choose who is deserving of your efforts. Because we're not going to agree who is deserving on. We will never agree on who is deserving of our efforts, and that's something it is best to the individual. Again, a better you is A better you is a better self. A better self is a wiser self, and a wiser self is a better outcome. Only when does better does. I'm not sure what I wrote there. Okay. Production focus on people leads to wealthier people. Progress is the outcome of production and wisdom, and liberty is necessary to have that production in the first place. Okay, this is these are some comically goofy parroted talking points from the left that I hear, like my corporations, my roads. I hope I don't hear this from my opponent, and I don't think I will. And in conclusion, we seek to end the cycle of the secular power game. We see authority as a mental illness. This idea that people's preferences can have a precedent over the preferences of others is nothing but a silly mental delusion conjured up by those who seek power and control over others. It is merely utilitarian, and it is not legitimate. As long as there is a delusion of the legitimacy of the state and its authority, there will always be a power vacuum, because the price is power, and the vacuum is it's incentivized by the reward of ruling over others. As long as the government exists, we will always have this game among interest groups to gain power over the government and use it as a tool to bash our enemies.
1 minute left.
And yeah, that's it. That is the end of my slide.
Oh, all right. Perfect timing. And you had nothing else? You still had about 40 seconds there.
No, the other ones are just like side notes.
Okay. All right. No problem. No problem. All right. So thank you for that opening statement. And with that, we're going to hand the mic over to Teriak. And Teriak, whenever you're ready for your opening statement, I will start the timer up with your voice.
A couple of key words that my opponent used there: statelessness, progress, seizing the means of production, libertarian and conservative. But we'll get back to that. Ladies and gentlemen, today I present a political philosophy designed for the 21st century and beyond, one that aims to be the strongest, most durable, and most effective system for a sovereign nation. Aristocratic National Socialism. But let me be crystal clear from the very beginning. This is not Nazism. Nazism was a specific, extreme version known as fascist National Socialism. It was totalitarian, centered on one all-powerful dictator, obsessed with racial mysticism, aggressive territorial expansion, and constant warfare. That version led to catastrophe. Aristocratic National Socialism is fundamentally different. It's rational, merit-based, constitutional, and focused on peace through strength, long-term prosperity, and national survival. It rejects totalitarian dictatorship and expansionist wars. Instead, it emphasizes competence, evidence-based decisions, and strict limits on government power. What is aristocratic National Socialism? It is socialism with strict limiting principles. Regular socialism and communism seek to give the government ownership and control over nearly everything in the name of equality. They believe the state should run the entire economy. Aristocratic National Socialism is the opposite. It applies socialism only where it is absolutely necessary for the nation's security, strength, long-term survival. Everything else remains private, competitive, and fully capitalist. The guiding rule is simple and strict. The government may only intervene in areas that are critical to the nation's defense, cohesion, infrastructure backbone, and ability to survive as a sovereign people. All other areas must stay free and capitalist. The national limiting principle, now just keep in mind limiting principle because that's going to come up, prevents the endless expansion of government we see in regular socialism and from the Democrats. The nation, its people, culture, security, and future always comes first. Aristocratic means ruled by the best or reason, sound reasoning above all. Leadership is earned through proven talent, character, competence, and results, not birthright, popularity contests, or wealth. Responsible citizenship, voting as a privilege, not a right. We reject universal suffrage because unlimited democracy often leads to short-term promises and national decline. The right to vote in national elections is earned through two ways. First of all, stake of nation. You either own a house or you serve military or national service. So if you don't own a house but you serve the military, you pass the stake of the nation thing, and vice versa. Civic competence. Voters must periodically pass a test on mathematics, logical reasoning, and critical thinking. And because of the logical reasoning section, you also have English fluency built into that as well. This ensures that anyone who votes have both investment in the country and the skills to make informed decisions. Non-voters still keep all other rights and freedoms. Government structure is pretty much the exact same as the current American structure. You have your Congress, you have your National Senate, you have your presidency, and you have your independent judiciary. The economic vision, we fully embrace capitalism as the best engine for innovation, efficiency, and wealth creation. The vast majority of the economy stays private and competitive. Shops, factories, restaurants, tech startups, housing, entertainment, services, and most manufacturing. Profit and competition are encouraged and rewarded. However, the state provides strong direction and limited socialization in the key critical backbone areas essential for national strength and survival. So, for example, national defense and military technology, aka warfare, core infrastructure and energy, education, money, finance and banking, food security and agriculture, justice, police and internal security, borders, immigration and demographics, cybersecurity and digital infrastructure, and foundational scientific research. So just to use the example of the warfare, you don't want Lockheed Martin selling to China and Russia the latest military equipment, so that needs to be nationalized or socialized. I don't really care which word you use. In terms of the healthcare, it'd have to be a hybrid system. You'd want them to compete against each other. Key supporting policies are targeted tariffs and trade. Sound familiar? Smart, limited tariffs to protect strategic industries like steel, technology, autos, and farming from unfair foreign competition like China, especially from subsidized or slave labor economies like China. National preference and supply chain security. Domestic companies get priority on government contracts. Critical goods like medicine, microchips, and military parts must have a minimum domestic production requirements. So think of like what Rubio's talking about now, where America should be making its own microchips. I wonder what the next move is going to be with China. Anti-monopoly enforcement, break up or regulate cartels that threaten competition or national interests, and foreign ownership restrictions, heavy limits on foreign control of land, like China buying up the farms. Media, like my opponent seems to think the Jews control the media, so he would be in favor of that, and other key industries. Why is this system superior? Against regular socialism and communism, we reject total government ownership. By strictly limiting socialization to the national security and backbone needs, we preserve private property, profit incentives, innovation, and individual freedom. So again, we believe in private property, we believe in capitalism, but we have a strict limiting principle to socialism, so it never goes communism. The whole thing with progressives now, it's like, oh, well, there's no limiting principle, so even a liberal has no argument against communism. They will just progress towards communism, even if that means progressing past the Constitution. Against uncontrolled global capitalism, or anarcho-capitalism, we prevent corporations and international finance from hollowing out our industries, offshoring jobs, like the jobs that were offshore to China, and eroding sovereignty for profit. The nation is protected, not treated as a mere shopping mall. Against pure democracy, we correct the flaws of mass voting by requiring competence and skin in the game. Aristocratic National Socialism creates ordered freedom, a dynamic, innovative, private economy guided by competent leadership and protected by strong national institutions. It builds a secure, cohesive, prosperous, and sovereign nation focused on long-term flourishing of its people. This is practical, reason-based, and particularly in terms of sound reasoning, it is the third way. Realistic about human nature and the challenges of the modern world. Thank you very much, everybody, and I look forward to your questions and the debate.
All right. Thank you for that opening statement. Great opening statements from both sides. That's going to wrap up the opening statement section. We're going to move into the rebuttal round here. So each debater is going to get 5 minutes uninterrupted to directly respond to their opponent's opening argument. So not a back and forth yet. No interjections. When your 5 minutes are up, we stop, move it to the other side, and then after that, we'll get into the open floor. So, Darth Theranos, we're gonna give you the mic back for your 5 minute uninterrupted rebuttal. So whenever you're ready, I will start the timer up with your voice.
My main contention with like statism and this light version of nationalist socialism is because ultimately you will have competing interest groups, and you ultimately cannot paper over competing interest groups. So, for example, in America, you will have competing interests between people of one nation, because America is a country made of multiple nations. So the reason Nazism was so effective is because they were unified not just by a goal, but because they were racially unified. We live in a very chaotic world of post World War II multiculturalism. So trying to put back, basically Pandora's box is open. So it is now we cannot undo the multiculturalism that has already occurred. I don't think you can really paper over these conflict of interest. The whites are always going to have this conflict against the minorities from foreign-born immigrants. But now that those immigrants have had children in the Western countries, legally they can't just be getting rid of. You can't just get rid of them legally. They're legal citizens. So this leaves us in a very tough spot in which this can't be actually carried out. And my problem is, like, with all forms of statism, you're going to have elites, and so there's always going to be those people who want to cozy up to micro fears, who want to cozy up to the fear and carry out their agenda. And I don't think you can solve that. I think the best course of action is some sort of confederation in which people go their own separate ways, because at least through some sort of confederacy, you can have this undo some of the multiculturalism imposed by conservatism, Christianity, and liberalism. But to propose a Timu version of nationalist socialism, I don't think it's going to work out. You need to be committed, actually committed, balls to the wall authoritarianism. If you actually want the results of, this utopian nationalist socialism, you're going to have to be more radical than Mustache Man himself, especially when you have this massive influx of a competing interest group. Muslims, Somalis, whatever. And I think I'll surrender my time there.
All right. Thank you for that 5-minute rebuttal. With that, we're going to hand the mic back over to Teriak. Teriak, whenever you're ready for your uninterrupted rebuttal, I'll start the timer up with your voice.
I have the screen share there as well.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Sorry.
Come now, Theranos. Do you really think that I was going to let you sit here and try to get away with this? You must have thought you were so clever. So my mom took Tylenol, you know what I'm saying? So I like to use AI for this shit. But I put in the prompt, how can ANCAP be used as a subversive method by communists? This is one of the more interesting and controversial observations. Alignment between anarcho-capitalists and communists. Both are anti-state in rhetoric and want to destroy the existing nation-state order. He wants to destroy America. Make no mistake about it, folks. Both oppose traditional national institutions, borders, and bourgeoisie to national loyalty. Both can sound utopian once you remove the current system. You've all heard them, folks. Once you seize the means of production, you will be in the betterment, all this stuff. And let's look at how they subvert. You divide and weaken, promote ANCAP to libertarians and conservatives, which he literally just told you, yeah, this is libertarian and conservatism, best of both worlds. to erode support for any strong nationalist government, defense spending, tariffs, or industry policy. This hollows out the nation's ability to resist external or internal threats, create chaos. A successful push towards statelessness creates power vacuums. Historically, communists are expert at exploiting chaos, revolutions, economic collapse to seize power. ANCAP society would likely fragment into competing fragments, making it easier for organized, disciplined groups like communists to dominate. Useful idiots, many ANCAP ideas: abolish borders, end the military-industrial complex, taxation is theft, overlap with leftist, anti-Western narratives. Globalist elites or communists can fund or amplify ANCAP voices to undermine national sovereignty while they push their own centralizing agendas elsewhere. The end result is pure ANCAP is unlikely to last. The strong or highly organized fill the void. The communists have a track record of using libertarian-sounding rhetoric during liberalization, comrades. Remember the early Soviet NEP, New Enterprise Party, or modern China's selective capitalism before reasserting control. In short, ANCAP's extreme anti-statism can act as an unwitting accelerator for national dissolution, which communists historically capitalize on. And just to give you guys an idea of what's actually going on with the progressives, what's going on with the lefties, what's their latest plan, this is posted on the Reddit of the progressive socialist thing 5051. Why don't we all just join MAGA and then non-violently destroy them from inside? So much damage has been done in the past by those once very close to the golden baby. Imagine what we could do if we were behind the line. I know there isn't much literal I know there isn't a literal sign-up sheet, but it would be easy enough to infiltrate local groups and then either sow dissent or get them paranoid about each other to the point that they don't even trust the members of their own cult. Sure, Hispanics and most brown skin colored folks won't get it close, but the rest of us empathetic warriors sure could. Thoughts? This was posted about a week ago on the Reddit, and then we have our boy Darth comes in. And he thought, I am a right winger and we're going to seize the means of production. This is his X page. Now, I won't scroll up, but you can kind of make out what that flag is. And he's sitting here arguing against National Socialism. But notice he's a professional racist. He also is a professional rapist as well.
I'm proud of it.
Gentlemen, I think the lady doth protest too much. But again, he could hand wave this and say, no, I only support that because I'm against the Jays. But then he has posts going against Nick Fuentes. Who's more against the Jays than Nick Fuentes? Nick, stop being such a dumb Jewish Chinese piece. Goddess and a small dick Jew. Stop buying into that boomer garbage. So even this whole thing, he has this Nazi flag, but then he's against National Socialism. Doesn't make sense. But then you look at the people he follows, and who's that? Sarah the Asian Potato. So, ladies and gentlemen, to cut it close, this is subversion. Make no mistake about it. You heard the words out of his mouth. We need to seize production, comrades. We need progression, comrades. We need statelessness, comrades. It is libertarian and conservatism, best of both worlds, comrade. Did you really think that, we weren't going to notice a communist trying to infiltrate? This is ridiculous. And with that, I see the rest of my time.
All right, thank you for that.
Easy, it's a muffled mic.
My
I
mic
think the cable might be loose.
How are we sounding now?
Beautiful.
All right. Yeah, I probably did knock it. With that, we are going to move into the open floor, back and forth here. But before we do, let me talk to the audience real quick. If you're watching right now, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and subscribe to tonight's debaters. While one of their links are in the description. We host all kinds of debates here on Swords of Reason: politics, culture, ethics, internet topics, video games, anything where reasoning and passion can collide. So if you enjoy this format, make sure you stay locked in because we have a lot more coming for you. And also, if you want to get yourself onto a Swords of Reason, make sure you join the Discord, discord.gg/bearcave. Send a message directly to me or Tiny Pink Nugget of Chaos in the Discord, and we'll get you guys set up with a debate of a topic you're into. Have lots of debaters ready to debate, so any topic you can think of, I'll probably have a debater for you. Also, reminder for the live chat after closing statements, we're doing a 30-minute Q&A. I've got the Q&A in there for you, but super chats, Rumble rants, PayPals, Cash Apps, these will take priority. And if they fill up the whole 30 minutes, we may not get to the free chat questions. So if you have something you really want answered, send it one of those options, and we'll make sure it gets asked. Finally, thank you to both our debaters for being here tonight and bringing your perspectives into the arena. Whenever one of you is ready for the open floor exchange, just go ahead and jump in. I'll start the timer up with your voice.
Sure.
So I guess the first place to start is, why do you have a Nazi flag on your X profile, but you're against National Socialism?
Well, I'm against that. I am not a socialist. I can still be a racist and be an anarchist.
And
That's not
a rapist
contradiction.
too, yeah.
And a rapist. But the rapist thing is a joke. If people don't get that.
Oh,
But
it's just a joke, yeah. I don't believe a single fucking word out of your mouth.
do you honestly think I'm like a professional rapist?
No, I think you're an infiltrator that's trying to make the right wing look bad. You're trying to play up to that caricature that they paint all right wingers off. They're rapists. They're racists.
Well, if you're not a racist, then you're not a right winger. First of all, you didn't actually address anything in my opening statement, but that's fine. Who cares?
I did. I pointed out how anarcho-capitalism is literally just a stepping stone to communism.
How so? How you draw the connection?
The whole divide and conquer, how you both want statelessness, how you, in your own words, were saying, well, it's a blend of libertarian and conservatism, which is exactly how Lenin done it in Soviet Russia, which is exactly what China done with this, we'll mix things up and we'll add a bit of capitalism, all this kind of stuff. Appease the masses. By your own words, you're concerned with progressive. We need to be progress, comrades.
Okay.
You want statelessness. You want the people to seize the means of production for themselves.
Wait, do you think like just because quote unquote the communism, by the way, anarcho-communism is an oxymoron. Second of all, you do realize
no, just
because it's an oxymoron. You can't how are you going to take away people's property without having the government do it?
You divide it all up, and then there's no borders, there's no state protect.
Yeah, but how are you going to do that to begin with?
And then there's no borders. So this whole was it like unlimited immigration, this free trade, so they can move all their labor over to China and undercut your markets. How are you supposed to compete with China when they have slave labor wages?
No,
America, what's going to happen to America in that situation?
Answer me. How are you going to stop people from owning stuff? You require a government to stop people from owning stuff, right?
No.
Wait. Okay. Look, I own this.
You can do it with a corporation, private security.
Yeah, that's a corporation.
You don't think? You don't. Yeah. You don't think? Yeah, you don't think corporations can act like states?
Just wait. Are you saying that corporation is a state because they own stuff?
They can act like a state.
No, but
who's going to defend the individual? Who's going to defend the individual?
Okay, do you think a corporation is like a state because they're bosses? Because
private
they have a
militias.
hierarchical system?
Private militias. So, for example,
Who
this
cares?
Peter Thiel chap with all this robotics, he straps some weapons to it. Who's going to stop him?
Okay, this is the ridiculous idea that Jeff Bezos is kind of like strapped like C4 to his like
There's nothing stopping him. Because with the state, the
U.S.
U.S. military, you can ask Maduro what he thinks about the U.S. military. I can tell you, 2 hours, boys. Holy shit, that was impressive stuff. Shout out to the Americans.
You honestly think Jeff Bezos wants to take over the world with his like shipping company? You honestly think that's what Jeff Bezos wants?
Who's going to protect the individual when this comes?
Okay, you do realize under anarcho-capitalism, people can own tanks. Do you think like
Yeah.
the
Do people?
you
One
think
sec. Do people have
wait,
enough money
wait,
to buy
wait.
tanks?
Do you think the morning
much is a
shift
tank?
workers? No, wait. Do you think the morning shift
How much? How
Amazon?
much is a tank?
Do you think the morning shift Amazon
How
workers
much is a
are
tank?
going to like oppress the night shift workers? How does that
How
work?
much? How much is a tank? And who do you think will be able to buy more tanks?
You realize under the free market,
the corporations divide
the
and
price of
conquer.
tanks are gonna go down.
Mhm.
We're gonna make freaking
Mhm.
tanks. We're gonna make sure there's a tank in every garage. Every civilian. There won't be a civilian,
What you
but
mean
every
we?
person,
What you mean
every
we?
person, yeah, every person who makes money.
We'll come together as a collective, like a state
No,
would, and give each
no,
other tanks?
no.
No.
We're gonna.
Oh, so how
Who's
do
gonna stop
individuals get
people from
tanks?
buying tanks? We're like, wait, if I make a tank, who's gonna stop me?
Their capital.
Nobody, right? There's no
Their
government, man.
capital.
People with means
Their
of
capital.
production means people with means of production make tanks.
Look at them dance, chat.
Do
Look
you
at them dance.
think
Oh,
like
you will all
Jeff
have
Bezos?
tanks. He
Yeah,
sounds
Jeff
exactly like
Bezos
them.
is
The
gonna sell
communist
people
cunts. Look at
tanks.
them. Everyone's gonna have a tank. You're gonna have your own private militia to protect you and all this shit. When the corporations roll in with the private militias, don't
How
worry, guys. You will all have
guns are
tanks.
gonna be regulated without
Yeah.
government? How do you think guns get regulated without government, man? Make that okay. Look,
You
somebody sells an
were just trying to
MP40.
make the
Who's
claim
gonna
that
stop
everybody's
people
gonna
from
have a
buying an
tank.
MP40?
Yeah.
Yes,
Sell them the
because it
utopia.
won't be the.
Get
They
rid of your
won't.
state. Get rid of your nation.
Who do you think? How do you think tanks get made? People make them, right?
Yeah.
So if there's
And you
no
need
government,
capital. You need capital to buy them.
yes,
How do people get the capital?
they're gonna get capital in the fucking free market, man. There's gonna.
Oh yeah.
Do you think
Everyone
only
will just be able to
one
buy a tank.
corporation exists? Wait, do you think only one corporation exists? Do you people think are only beholden to like
This is
Jeff Bezos and
this
Amazon?
is crazy. This is
This
crazy.
is
Do you think everybody can
ridiculous.
afford a
This
tank?
is like no, you're getting this idea from like bad '90s movies of
Do
an
you
evil
think everybody
corporation,
can
Jeff
own a
Bezos.
tank? You're the
Do
one
you-
that brought tanks into this. Do you think everybody can
Yeah.
own a tank?
Yes. Do you? Okay.
Okay. How much?
The
one sec,
Germans.
let's actually Google this. How much does a
Tarek.
tank cost in
Tarek.
the US? Oh, this is
Tarek.
beautiful. Watching them dance. A running
It's not a
M4
thing of
Sherman
cost.
costs 250 grand to 500 grand plus. Do you think everybody can afford that?
That's due to regulation, my guy. When there's no
Oh, it's all
regulation,
regulation.
the price
Yeah,
plummets.
just give up your military, give up
No,
your
do
state,
you honestly?
and,
Okay,
and it'll be utopia. Everyone will have a
Tarek.
tank. Don't worry,
Tarek.
comrades.
Terry,
You'll need to
do you
seize
realize
means of production, then you can buy tank. It is because of government that you cannot buy tank, even though in America you technically
this
can buy a
is like
tank.
this is like a childish like lefty argument? Do you
Oh,
honestly
I'm the
believe?
lefty.
Okay,
You're the one that
Tarek.
wants to get rid of the state, just like a communist does. But I'm
No,
the lefty.
communists want more government.
Look
How
at
is that? How
grin.
is that a leftist thing?
He's still
Communists
dancing.
want bigger
This is
government.
unbelievable, chat.
This is ridiculous.
I
Communists are
smelt you
for
coming
bigger
a mile
government.
away, bro.
How do you not know the communists are for bigger government?
Yeah, that's the next stage.
No. Communists have never been anarchists in practice. They require. They believe in the oxymoronic version that they can have
Okay, explain
government
this to me.
without government.
What happens to the U.S. military once you get rid of the state?
What happens to the U.S. military?
Yeah.
Do you think like the tanks disappear?
What happens to the U.S. military
Yeah.
once you get rid of the
Those-
state?
Once the state goes away, people are free to make tanks. To the idea that we can't make tanks because it's some sort of special power only the government can do is ridiculous. The Germans were pushing out tanks even at the
what
end
I'm
of the
pointing
war.
out is that the military
Yeah,
is what protects the
the-
USA. The
Our means of
military is the one that
productions are
went
more
in
effective
and
today.
snagged
To say we
Maduro
can't push
in
out
2
tanks, but
hours.
the Germans at the
The
end of the war
military
can.
is the
It's
one.
ridiculous.
The military is the one that blockaded a fucking blockade. That's how great the U.S. military is. And you're saying, yeah, as U.S. citizens, you don't need that. Just get rid of that military, which is exactly what a communist would want, which is exactly what a global capitalist would want.
Okay,
To
do you
deindustrialize America, to destroy
We're
America.
capitalists. No, we want to industrialize.
You want to destroy America
We want to industrialize. How is that destruction of America?
because you want to get rid of the state of America.
the government is not the nation. They're not the same thing. Government and nation are two different things. Nation is the blood and soil. The government
Oh,
is
now
is
he's doing
just
blood and soul.
it's just a legal entity.
Oh, it's beautiful, isn't it? He's quoting
Okay,
he's quoting
let
Adolf,
me
but
let
he's
me share my
against National
screen.
Socialism.
Let me share my screen, by the way.
Isn't it beautiful?
Okay.
Just
Uh,
watching you
And
dance
real
right now is
quick, I
beautiful.
just want to, because I'm trying to, just so I can clarify, for like audience sake as well. I just want to know: is the claim that like anarcho-capitalism and communism share an end goal, share methods,
Mhm.
or that like they're like
What
one
angle
and the
do we
same?
share?
Yeah, so both are anti-state in rhetoric and want to destroy the existing nation-state order. Both oppose traditional national institutions, borders, and bourgeoisie national loyalty. And both can sound utopian. Once you remove the current system, the perfect voluntary society will emerge. You will all have tanks. You will
So
all have mansions.
yeah, so
Who's gonna
just for
stop you from promoting tanks?
So just for clarification here, so we're not like having three different debates at once here. Is it just that anarcho-capitalism and communism share the end goal? Is that what it is?
And they've been used by communists in previous past as well, both by Soviet Russia and by China.
Okay. And then you said you wanted to share your screen here, Darth.
Yeah, let me share something real fast.
I can move
So
stuff here just a sec.
so Tarek, okay, he was am I sharing the right one? Let me see if I'm sharing the right
Careful. Don't show nothing crazy.
one. See, yeah, show the wrong one. Give me a second. Share screen.
Statelessness, comrades. You need to seize the means of production from state. We want the progressive, so we can all have tanks. It is
Okay.
blend of libertarian and conservatism somehow.
Give me
Oh. It disappeared again.
yeah, trying to find the tab. Okay.
You
So
done fucked up, Aaron.
so who now we're gonna look at this is Andrew Wilson's. So he was saying, oh, he's subversive. This is Andrew Wilson's.
Is this Andrew
He's
derangement
yeah.
syndrome?
This is Andrew Wilson.
This is just proving my case even more.
Christian nationalism.
No wonder he's following Sarah.
Now who
Oh
does?
my
Now
God.
who does? Andrew
You
Wilson
shoot yourself
follow?
in the foot, bro.
Is that Israel?
You take a step
All right,
back.
let's do one. Let's do one at a time. Let's do
Mark
one at a
Levin?
time.
Why is Andrew Wilson following Mark Levin in Israel? Man, are these subversive right wingers? So tell me, is Andrew Wilson a subversive right winger because he follows Israel and Mark Levin?
Okay.
By the way, the reason I'm following Sarah is not because I align with her ideologically.
Yeah.
So answer me:
And
is Andrew Wilson, by your standard, the same standard that you applied to me, is he being subversive?
The mere fact that you brought up Andrew Wilson, because I brought up the Sarah thing, proves the connection. You just shot yourself in the foot.
So you're saying Andrew Wilson is a subversive right winger because he's following Israel, right?
How is he following Israel?
He's in his follows. Those are Andrew Wilson's followings.
Yeah,
That's the people he's
Mark
following.
Levin is a well-known name.
Zionist. Yeah, he's
The
a well-known
aging potato
Zionist.
ain't.
He's a well-known Zionist.
But the aging potato, one sec, the aging potato tried to subvert Andrew, and she failed spectacularly. But you followed her, and your rebut to it was to bring up Andrew Wilson. Dance for me.
Because you're saying I'm subversive.
Okay, real quick, and I do understand why you're bringing it up, Darth Tyrannus, and that was fair. But I just want to pull us back because the personalities, social circles, whether somebody follows someone on X, this doesn't establish whether an ideology is true or false or which one is better. So let's just let's bring us back in here and let's explain how this could relate to the resolution.
This was just a rhetoric. This was just a tactic, rhetorical tactic on behalf.
Why do you have a National Socialist flag as your banner on your X profile, but you're against National Socialism?
Because I'm an anti-Semite.
Okay, but then why are you attacking Nick Fuentes?
Because he's a Jew lover. Because he believes that Jew is God.
Oh, okay.
It's
So
ridiculous.
Nick Fuentes.
Can
Nick
you-
Fuentes is
All right,
now
but
free.
let's tie this back into the resolution of the debate, right?
Is he subversive, by the
Yep.
way? Is he subversive? If Nick Fuentes is subversive,
This
so
is an
are you
denying-
association from arguments we're
Yeah.
doing, guys. Come on. We're doing association from
yeah.
arguments. Let's
Are-
get back
Okay.
to the topic
Are
of
you
the debate.
denying? Yeah, are you denying that you want to get rid of the state now?
no.
Ah, so you,
Okay.
just like a communist, you want to get
if-
rid
look,
of the state,
Look, if
correct?
no, communists don't want to get rid of the state.
Which
they want a
means
bigger
there's
government.
nothing preventing, once this happens, there's nothing preventing Lockheed Martin from selling to China, from selling to Russia, and then you divide the nation up into all these little, we're
Yeah,
all
the governments already do that.
anarcho-capitalists, borderline communists, and then
Yeah,
what's stopping
governments-
Russia from just sending in their troops? What's stopping China from sending in their troops?
Yeah, if there's no government, there's nothing stopping the people from like buying tanks, buying MP40s, buying Sturmgewehrs, buying MG42s. People are going to be
Capital.
armed to the teeth. Yes, yeah. Who
Capital.
cares? Do you
What's that?
think we're?
Who
Do you
cares?
think we're? Yeah, we don't worship money. What we are tied to production.
Says the
We're
anarcho-capitalist.
Yes, we're
We
industrialists.
don't worship
we
money.
Yeah, we don't worship money. We want to make money worthless because we understand it's just a piece
just
of
like the
paper.
communists.
No, genius. You have this cartoonish, parroted version of narco-capitalism that we worship money. No,
It's your own
we
words.
we want to make money is merely a means
You
of.
want to seize the means of production.
We want everybody to own means of production. We want everybody to be industrialists.
Seize the
Because-
means of production. Does that sound familiar, Chad?
No. What are you talking about? Just because you have means of production, does your government
No.
want the capitalists to seize
what you
means of
just said,
production?
yeah, we want to seize the means of production.
Yeah. Under your system, you want the
This
people
is
to seize the means of
pathetic.
production, right? It's ridiculous. This
So,
is such
like
a,
I said, I'm just gonna address the chat because, like I said, I like seeing him
This is a
sweat. I like seeing him
stretch.
dance. You know what I mean?
I'm not dancing, man.
but
This is like a ridiculous straw man.
I pointed out how anarcho-capitalism is just a way. Oh shit, we're getting muffles. I think the wire came out easy.
Is it good now?
Yep.
Yeah, good.
Okay. This is what I want to do here. I'm gonna. What are we at? The time 43:38. So I'm gonna pause the timer for a second. Okay, I'm gonna bring this other timer up. I want to give 2 minutes and 30 seconds for each side to define what their stance is, and then I'm gonna after do a 2 minutes for you to steelman each other to make sure you're all on the same ground here of what you define as anarcho-capitalism and national socialism. So we're not getting lost in a definitions debate. And Darth Tyrannus thinks he's being strawmanned right now, so that's a fair claim. If he wants to define it to clear something up, now's the chance. So Darth Tyrannus, define for us anarcho-capitalism.
Yes, as I put up in my slide, anarcho-capitalism is just the abolition of the state. We don't believe the state has any actual legitimate authority. This doesn't mean we're out to seize the means of production like some sort of Marxist. We're not here to take away people's property. We want people to own property, but we want everybody to become an industrialist. Money to us is just a means of exchange. We don't think the power is in the money. We think the power is in the production. The way a nation becomes strong is through productivity. It's not through the freaking piece of paper. That's just how we keep count of stuff. Without pricing, we wouldn't be able to manage. This is why socialism fails, because it wants to get rid of the pricing. It wants to make it subjective. No, we say pricing does matter. As we become more industrialist, we're going to make the price of everything go down. Germany, at the end of the war, was still manufacturing tanks. To say that the anarcho-capitalists won't be able to match the production levels of a falling Germany is ridiculous. We can produce tanks. It depends on whether we have the means of production. If there's no government regulating that you can't dig up a material, for example, in America, all aluminum manufacturing has dropped it's dropped like 95% since like World War II. All manufacturing for aluminum has gone to China. We want to bring back industrialization, which means bringing back the materials. We want to be industrialized. That way, in all strong nations are built on industrialization. World War II was a war of the factories. It was who can outproduce who. We are all about production. We understand that production is necessary. To claim the idea that Jeff Bezos is going to take over the world with his Amazon like drones and start carpet bombing people is ridiculous. What is like the morning shift workers going to oppress the night shift workers? No, they live in they're neighbors. They have a self-interest to keep this experiment going.
All right, so I will bring it back over to you, Teriak. I'm going to put 2:30 here for you as well. And let me get it down to 2:30 so it's exact time. All right, so whenever you're ready, Teriak, define what you are talking about, National Socialism.
Yeah, so it's basically a fully capitalistic model, but with socialized purely down to the backbone for national security and for like the actual nation itself. So we believe in a state first and foremost. We want a fully competent state. That's why it's aristocratic national socialism, and the limiting principle is based on the national strength and the backbone, so including like pronatal policies and all this kind of stuff as well. We fully embrace capitalism as the best engine of innovation, efficiency, and wealth creation. The vast majority of economics stays private and competitive. Jobs, factories, restaurants, tech startups, housing, entertainment, services, and most manufacturing, profit and competition are encouraged and rewarded. So you still have your private property, you still have all this stuff. You know what I mean? However, the state provides strong direction and limited socialization in the critical backbone areas essential for national strength and survival. So national defense and military technology. This is what he keeps avoiding. Oh, you'll just be able to buy your own tank. They're $500,000. $500,000. So he wants to go bye-bye the American military. Core infrastructure and technology. What happens if China starts buying up all your farmland? And Russia, all your enemies, start buying up all your farmland and then just burn the farms? You go into a famine. Can't prevent that. What about your energy reserves? What if all these foreign investors buy up all your energy reserves? What then? Education is another aspect. Money, finance, and banking is another aspect. Food security and agriculture, like we just mentioned. You don't want China and Russia buying up all your farmland. Justice, police, and internal security. This is another thing. We've just gotten rid of the police. He's defunded the police. You know what I mean? Borders, immigration, demographics. He wants the open borders. He wants the free trade with China. He wants all these globalist policies that have been pushed on you and have deindustrialized and ruined your economy. This whole thing of like, oh, we'll just build our own tanks and all this kind of shit. How are you going to compete with slave labor in China? You can't. Cybersecurity and digital infrastructure. Who's going to keep guard of all the internet wires, the cables that are under the ocean? We didn't think of that one. But foundational scientific research. So like the long-term scientific research that there's no short-term profit for it, which means you've less people actually investing in it. So biotech, material sciences, AI foundations. You know what I mean? So all of this goes out the window. Main couple being like your policing and your military just goes straight out the window. We have to get rid of the state because the policing and the military are oppressive to their own citizens, apparently.
All right, awesome. So real quick now, what I want to do is Teriak, you're going to start. I want you to give you a minute and 30 seconds to try and steelman Darth Tyrannus's position, or Tyrannus's, sorry, and then I will do the same for Darth.
Yeah, so his whole thing is like, oh, capitalism's great, it's so great and all this kind of stuff, but it's basically just kind of masquerading where the next step would be the communism. He just wants to deindustrialize America and destroy America, essentially. He's used his own words that it's like, oh, it's statelessness. He wants to get rid of the state, and then he wants the people to seize their own production, and somehow everyone's going to have a tank. I don't know how he's making that claim. The whole like, oh, but we'll progress somehow, competing against China's slave labor, and then it's a mix of libertarian and conservatism, apparently.
Oh, all right, and then so let me give it to you, Darth Tyrannus, and I'm gonna let you have a minute and 30 to steelman Teriak's position.
So he says, like, the fault with anarcho-capitalism, he says that the Chinese slave labor is going to outproduce the anarcho-capitalists, and they're going to use that the profits from that to like buy up land in Anarcho-Capistan. So they're gonna grow food in Ancapistan, and then they're gonna burn it down. That's what he said. That's his position. So he also said that the corporations within Ancapistan, as if the people don't even work there apparently, are going to sell all their secrets and all their production, like all their military production, overseas, but they won't sell any to the people within Ancapistan.
You're supposed to
And
steel man National Socialism.
yeah, okay. Now, what he's saying, the National Socialism is going to prevent all this. They're gonna have protectionist laws. Which protectionist laws? He hasn't quite made those. So I'm not sure what protectionist laws aside from tariffs. So how exactly is he going to fix the housing? He's speaking of as if we're going to engage in some sort of hypothetical war. China, it's all time's up.
All right. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to get it back into the open floor here. I gave you guys back 2 minutes so we can go at an even 45. So whenever one of you is ready to go ahead and hop in, go ahead.
Okay. Tarek, do you honestly believe that Jeff Bezos is going to use the morning shift workers to oppress the night shift workers by sending, attack drones, and that's going to somehow increase his profits? Become evil corporate villain, something profits. Do you honestly think that's a realistic?
What I'm pointing out is we currently. You're saying that like you need to provide the laws and the policies like to say like how are we going to have like a national defense and a military? We already have the laws.
Okay. Do you think we won't produce tanks? You
No,
don't
what
think
I'm saying is
produce...
with your ideology, we get rid of the U.S. military.
There will be a military. There just won't be a government military. Do you acknowledge?
So who controls the military?
Do you acknowledge we're going to produce tanks?
Who?
Sturmgewehrs.
It's back to the tanks thing. Who owns the military?
Everyone does.
Oh, so like the current system we have now.
A military is just people with guns.
Okay.
So are people going to be able to buy Sturmgewehrs? Do you think people are going to be able to... answer me this question, Tarek.
So everybody in America owns the military.
Tarek,
kind of sounds like the current military we have.
Okay, Tarek, do you think it's possible under anarcho-capitalism that people can buy MG42s?
They already have their own guns.
Can they buy MG42s?
That's what makes America great.
No, they can't. No, America can't buy... You can't buy an MG42 in America.
What's your obsession with tanks, bro? Like, if we legalize tanks, what's your argument then? If we legalize tanks.
I'm asking you, do you think under anarcho-capitalism you won't be able to buy MG42s and Panzer tanks?
We pass a law so everyone's allowed to buy a tank now. What then?
This isn't a critique about yours. It's a critique about my position, right? So are you saying we cannot build tanks?
His own position.
It's
not bad. He's even critiquing his own position now.
Because we're here to criticize my position and your position.
Yeah, we pass a law.
We
pass a law, so everyone can own a tank now if they have the capital. How does that lead us to anarcho-capitalism?
No, you're saying
anarcho-capitalism so great.
Your critique here is that anarcho-capitalism can't defend themselves because people can't buy MG42s. So I'm proposing to you, can people buy MG42s? We could
pass a law in the morning where everyone's allowed to own a tank or they can buy a tank. Your whole thing was like, well, no, they can't buy the specific tank.
No.
We passed that law. They can now buy the tank. Private citizens can now buy a tank.
Can anarcho-capitalism hold a military?
The people.
Yes, people with guns. MG42s,
the one group of people.
Tanks.
Like what's holding these? What's holding the Americans together now?
Hypothetically speaking, right?
No, we're not doing hypothetically. We're dealing with this whole thing. You're saying everybody owns the military, but what you're really saying is there's going to be different militaries. There's going to be private militaries, and then what happens then? There's going to be internal conflict. Divide and conquer.
Conflict over what? Conflict only arises within governments. The only reason we have a power vacuum in America, we do have a power vacuum in America. We have competing interest groups because the reward is getting the position of the government. No,
isn't capitalism all about competition?
Power vacuums only happen when there's this reward incentive of government, because that reward is a big deal. The reward incentive means you get to run the whole nation. If you were to tell me, hey, you take over this structure, you get to roll over the nation, I now have an incentive to take over that structure. Yeah. America is in a power vacuum.
Yeah, go ahead.
And the Israelites are winning. That's an undeniable fact.
How do we get to Jace? I don't.
So this critique of power vacuum applied to anarcho-capitalism is invalid.
Do you think it's going to be easier to control America when it's all divided up and there's all these private different armies, or do you think it's going to be more difficult?
There is no power vacuum under anarcho-capitalism because there's no reward of the government. There's no reward of the states.
Private corporations, these private security firms, that they're their own private militias. What happens in capitalism? Competition. These militaries are going to compete with each other.
You do realize how companies work. Companies work with one another. They're not competing violently with each other.
Okay, yeah. So what happens?
That's ridiculous.
Right? We've all become anarcho-capitalists now, right?
What happens?
One sec. What happens if you have a bunch of people saying we want to do Pride Parade, and the Conservatives say, "Nah, we're not letting you do that anymore. And if you do, we'll shoot you."
You could do that.
Yeah.
But do you honestly think?
So one sec. That's how the conflict is going to start. You will have all-out war.
No. Do you honestly think the liberals going to stick around for anarcho-capitalism? They know they're not welcome. They're going to leave voluntarily. They can stay,
So the
but
liberals
will
just deport themselves. Does this sound like a utopia?
Here? Do you think they're just going to stay here? It's like saying the Jews are going to stay in Nazi Germany. You think the Jews wanted to stay in Nazi Germany? No, they wanted to get out.
Yeah, and were there not Jews in the camps? So not all the Jews actually got out?
Because they couldn't make it out. First of all, they invaded Poland, and they got the Jews from Poland.
That system that you're describing was a state.
The Jews, in fact, left. Many Jews, in fact, left. Albert Einstein, famous
I'm still
Jew.
getting back to the whole Pride Parade. How's that going to go down?
Yeah. Just because...
What happens when Texas says, you know what? Yeah. We want to expand our territory. We've all come together as a collective.
Under government.
And Ted Cruz becomes a warlord. What happens then?
Yeah. There's no government for the liberals, for the LGBT.
Yeah, so they can just take over and say, you know what? Like your private property, I'm just taking it. What's stopping them from doing that?
Wait, do you think there's trans right under an anarchy?
No, we're not going trans right. I'm saying
exactly right. There's no trans right.
I've got a bigger gun. I've got a bigger gun than you. I like your property. It's mine now. What's stopping that?
Do you honestly think like the
What's stopping that? I was able to afford my tank. You weren't. You have a shitty tank. I've got a great tank. I'm taking your property now. What's stopping that?
Yeah, do you think one single individual can take over the whole world? No, that's not how things work.
I'm just giving you one example. I've got a great tank. You've got a shitty tank, and I like your property. What's stopping me?
The Panzerfaust. A drone.
What?
A drone.
Okay.
So you got a tank. I got a drone with a C4. It's ridiculous. People under people. You have this ridiculous conception.
You're just ignoring human nature.
Terry, you have this ridiculous conception that people have this human nature that they're naturally violent.
Envy, greed, lust.
No, that's your ridiculous conception. People
that doesn't exist.
People want to work. Do you think Jeff Bezos gets up in the morning like, oh, how can I be an evil business owner today? How can it be an evil corporation? No, Jeff Bezos is a rational person. Join us in the real world.
So
we're not all interested in having
we live in a society of all everybody's rational. Everybody's rational in society, apparently.
Everybody who doesn't want to freaking invade other nations.
What we currently seeing in San Diego, what we seeing in BLM, J6.
That's all a product of the government.
The J6 shit.
What are you talking about? That's all a product of the government. All the trans rights stuff. That's all imposed by government. all the
Who's showing up to the
freaking.
marches?
Who do you think runs the public schools? Who do you think
Who's
is brainwashing the
showing?
kids?
Who's
Do you think
showing
it's
up
private
to the
corporations?
marches?
Who do you think is
So in
inserting
this
all this
system,
LGBT stuff in the
propaganda
public
just
schools?
goes away. There's not going to be any envy. There's not going to be any greed. Everybody's going to be perfectly rational in this system.
No, under this system, you're not forced to follow them like you are under government. Under this system, you have to pay taxes into freaking transit kids in Africa.
Okay,
That's a
so
real
again,
thing,
these
by
like
the way. We
weird,
actually pay.
like you
We
don't
actually
think
U.S.
like that
taxpayers
comes from
actually paid
that
money
comes from
into transit
individuals.
kids in Africa for some
The
reason.
government is made up of individuals. These individuals will just like use a private corporation to do the exact same thing, and now you don't
Under
have
a
a
pu-
military to stop them.
under a private corporation, they won't be around because they'll get fired. Under the private
Oh,
corporations, they're
but what if they don't?
accountable to the customers. They're accountable to the shareholders.
Okay.
They need to make an actual profit and not just leech off of government taxpayers and subsidies.
Yeah. And what if again we go back to the example of you've got a nice property, but you don't have a tank. You've got a
Do
shit
you
tank.
do you honestly think my neighbor needs two houses? Like, oh, like I have this house, but you know what? I need your house too.
Yeah, I
Do you
want a
think?
bigger
Do you
house.
think do you think neighbors are
I
like
want my whole street.
naturally psychotic? People are not naturally psychotic.
Greed,
They're pushed
lust, envy. This
No,
is
people.
part of human nature.
No, the people
And
are
if
pushed.
there's not a state, then this runs rampant.
Wait. So you're telling me without government, you wouldn't? You would start raping people? Is that
I'm
seriously
saying
your
there are
position?
people that rapists, like you literally have professional rapists on your profile. I do not
No.
trust you. The fact you're
That's
like,
a
I want
joke.
an anarcho-capitalist system. And oh, don't
That's
worry,
a
guys,
joke.
I'm definitely not going to rape people.
I'm not a freaking serial rapist, man. I'm not going around fucking raping people.
But do rapists exist?
Do you think rapists? If there was no
Do
government,
they exist?
another question
They
is,
do.
do you,
So what's going to
Yes.
stop them?
apparently to you, if there was no government, everybody would turn into a serial rapist.
There's a police force. There's a military.
No. To answer me,
And there's consequences. There's a
answer
judiciary.
me this. Do you honestly
There is
think you would,
nothing. No. Don't avoid my question. What happens
with what?
when a woman gets raped in this anarcho-capitalism? What happens?
Under anarcho-capitalism, every woman is gonna have a Mac 10.
Oh, they're just gonna have a tank. Yeah, women are
Mac
just gonna drive
10.
around in tanks, bro.
No, I said a Mac 10.
What
Do you
is
know what a
this
Mac 10
fixation
is?
with a tank?
I said Mac 10. You know what a Mac 10 is?
No
It's-
clue what the
it-
fuck you've been talking about.
It's an Uzi.
Okay, yeah. So
So how are
America,
rapists going to be
one
effective?
sec. America
When they have
has
me
guns anyway. America, shut the
No, they
fuck up.
don't.
America has the Second Amendment. Women
don't.
can have guns in America. They
they
still get
don't.
raped.
No, they don't. The majority of guns are owned by like about 5% of the actual population. The only people who can actually afford the guns are like upper middle class people. Most people don't actually own guns in America. And most of the guns they do own are shitty revolvers. You can't own a Mac 10. You can't own a fully automatic rifle or submachine gun in America. There is no
Yeah.
Second Amendment in America. Make that clear.
There's no Second Amendment in America now.
No, there's not. And the actual Second Amendment means you can own anything. That's how the founding fathers intended it. Not this like, oh, it's just a musket. We don't meet fully
Yes.
automatic
But
Sturmgewehrs.
what's this? Like again, we go back to the example of these rapists. They now have a tank.
Do you? Oh my God.
They have
Do you-
drones.
Okay, look.
They-
Okay,
they-
let's say
they-
let's say
they
there's
have,
again.
one sec, they have drones. What's to
Okay.
stop them from just rounding up a bunch of chicks, putting them in a cage, and raping them?
What if there was bears burning your churches, burning your women, raping your churches? What are you gonna do when this gang of bears shows up and starts burning your women, raping your churches, man? It's
Yeah,
ridiculous.
have you ever heard of a place called
Okay,
the Middle
okay.
East?
Yeah, those Middle Eastern people don't own guns. You realize
Yeah.
the only people,
Yeah,
the only
remember
people,
October 7th?
you realize when
Women
the
got
popula-
raped, even though like they even had a state and all this shit.
Yeah, do you think those women had guns?
Yeah, but Israel
didn't.
had a military and they got theirs.
No, those women. No, those
Yeah.
women. Do you think those women had guns? No, right? So the aggressor has a monopoly on violence. They have the guns. If there's no monopoly
So-
on
so-
weapons, There is no violence.
So
Do you,
you don't think
Okay.
American citizens own guns?
they don't have a Second Amendment. They can own like revolvers, plinkers, sporting rifles, but they cannot own like fully
Semi-automatics?
automatic. Yeah, you can own like semi-automatics, but those are
So
sports rifles.
So between
There's a limit. You can only
25
hold 10 rounds.
2025 to 2026, 30% of all adults own a guns. In terms of households, anywhere between 42 to 52% of households have at least one gun in them. The US has about 120 guns per 100 people.
Yeah.
And you're
Not
saying we
everyone
don't
owns
have a
them.
Second Amendment in America.
No,
So
don't.
explain to me, once we get rid of the state, once we get rid of the judiciary, once we get rid of the military,
Okay.
once we get rid of all the police, how does this make people safer?
Wait.
What's to stop me? Because there's literally no more accountability.
Yeah.
Like these
look,
grapists will not get locked up. They'll just continue to grape.
Oh no, there's a gang of bears.
Which is what I think you genuinely want. That's why you're
Yeah,
so in favor
a
of this.
gang of bears burning your women, raping your
Mhm.
churches. Look, let's say there's this gang of bears going around raping our churches, burning
BLM.
our women. Yeah, let's say those monkeys are going around.
The
They're a
whole,
small group, man. You
Mostly
don't think we're
peaceful,
gonna
but fiery protests.
Okay, so you're telling me
The
this
incident
gang,
in San Diego.
yeah.
The church, the Christian school shootings from the tees.
There would be a
What's
small,
going to stop them?
What are you talking about? We already have mass shootings in America. Is this not something unique to
Yes, and it will get
anarcho-capitalism?
worse because
No, it
now there's
won't.
no police force, there's no response unit,
No,
there's
it
no
would get
military,
less.
there's no judiciary, there's no justice anymore.
If there was a mass shooting in a school and all those kids had a gun, how long do you think that mass shooter is gonna last?
I would just give the
Not
kids
long.
guns too.
Not long, right?
Because the kids are also
No,
rational as well.
no,
The kids aren't going
answer-
to accidentally pull
answer
the
the
trigger.
question.
Like give them all Uzis.
If there's a group of mass shooters in a
You
school,
sound fucking ridiculous, bro.
but the entire school. Well, you're proposing.
We
This
just
ridiculous,
arm the kids. Everybody gets a gun. Everybody gets a tank. Do the kids get a tank as well?
You're proposing this ridiculous scenario. I'm gonna answer this ridiculous scenario.
This is not a ridiculous. This is literally
It is a ridiculous
You just
scenario.
basically said we have mass shootings in America. How is this a ridiculous
Yes.
scenario if we already have mass shootings?
Do you know why those mass shootings happen?
What I'm telling you is there's no justice. There's
No,
no mechanisms
reason-
put in place to prevent such things.
Yes, there is. It's called a person with a gun. If everybody has a gun and there's a mass shooter, where are those guns going to turn to?
Yes,
The mass shooter.
Americans. Yes, Americans have the Second Amendment. I don't
do
know
you
if you know.
think people-
Habibi.
They don't.
America has Second
No, they don't.
Amendment, comrade.
They
Listen,
do not.
have Second Amendment. 30% of all adults have gun already.
Wait, what do you think the Second Amendment was for? Do you think it was just to stop criminals?
Bro, answer my question.
No, answer that. What do you think the Second Amendment was for?
It's irrelevant.
No,
the
it's
point I'm
completely
making.
irrelevant. The Second Amendment was
The
created to
subject
stop
matter
a
is 30% of
tyrannical
adults
government.
currently have
It
a gun
wasn't
in
for
America.
criminals. Now, the Second Amendment was for to stop a tyrannical government. It wasn't for criminals.
Yes,
So, no,
when
we
the
don't have
government becomes
Second
criminal. Yeah,
No, you're just
that's why they
you're
had the
trying to-
revolution, because they were like, this British government is criminal because no taxation without representation, and they said,
Oh
fuck
my
you.
God, dude.
And they
No,
formed
we
their own
don't have a
nation.
Second Amendment.
Because
we
why
don't.
would the founding fathers create a state? They were like, no, you know what? Let's actually go anarcho-capitalism. It's almost like the founding fathers were like, no, you need to have some checks and
Look,
balances in place here.
Look,
You know what I
look,
mean?
if you're gonna
Otherwise, things
look,
would descend into pure chaos, which is exactly what a communist would want.
look, if you're gonna make this ridiculous, like strawmans of anarcho-capitalism, I could do the
ridiculous.
same. I could do the same
Says the dude
ridiculous
who's
strawman about
literally
National
he claims
Socialism.
himself
Oh,
to be
you're
a
gonna start
professional
holocausting
rapist,
people,
and he's saying,
Oh,
"Whoa,
you're gonna start. Tarek,
there's rapists. There's going to be
Tarek,
rapists out there."
why are you gonna start holocausting people, man? See how we can make. I can also make the ridiculous scenarios of your position. Just because I can make a ridiculous scenario
How
doesn't
did
mean
we
it's
get to the Holocaust?
legitimate. You're proposing National Socialism, so I'm gonna bring up examples of National Socialism where they
You weren't even able to. You
First
weren't
of all,
even
this
able
actually
to. You had a
happened. So
minute
it's
and
not
a
even,
half to steel man what National Socialism is, and
yeah,
to
that
you,
actually
National
happened
Socialism
under
is the
National
Holocaust.
Socialism. Did that not happen under National Socialism?
Fascist national
It's
socialism,
still National
not
Socialism.
aristocratic national socialism.
My National Socialism won't have a Holocaust, guys. Trust me.
You do realize
Look,
National Socialism is the economic policy. The form of governance is something separate entirely.
this idea that you can separate.
No. We're not running away from this, you retarded fuck. You do realize those are two completely different things.
National Socialism, nationalists.
Is
What do you
an
think nationalist is?
economic policies.
No, nationalist is not an economic policy. Socialism is an economic policy, but once you add the nationalism part, you make it political.
Yes,
So,
an economic system is political.
no, the nationalist part makes it political. The socialist is economic. That's an economic prescription, yes. But the
Yes, National
nationalist part,
Socialism is the economic policy. And what was the form of governments that I made in my argument?
that would include the Nazis. That's an example
No,
of National
no.
Socialism. And they have committed Holocaust.
What
So
was
by
the argument
using
I
this
made?
ridiculous example,
What was
I
what
can
was the
conclude
no?
that you're
What
also
was the
proposing a
argument I made,
Holocaust.
sir? What was the argument I made?
That you're
The
taking all
current
the
American system, that you will still have a Congress, you will still have a Senate, you will still have a president, you will still have a judiciary. I bet
okay.
you were thinking there, I'm gonna fool all these right wingers. I'm gonna have them like
No,
begging
what
for
is,
anarcho-capitalism. You know what I mean?
how can you have
I smelt you a
number one,
fucking mile away, bro.
how can you have a nationalist social? How can you have socialism in this judicial system that's going to what exactly is it that you're proposing? Because you're not proposing
Yes, you
nationalist
have.
socialism.
Yeah, it's a limiting principle around the nation. I'm so glad you asked. You have a limiting principle around the nation, which means only key things like the critical backbone to the nation in terms of national strength and survival. So, for example, the military or infrastructure. Who's going to build the fucking roads? Like, as a capitalist, what is your return on investment by building a road? What about the energy, your oil reserves, your gold reserves? Who the fuck owns that now? Education. Who's going to set the national standard for education? Well, there's no nation, so we can just learn whatever the fuck you want.
Let me ask you
Money,
this question.
finance, banking, food security, and agriculture. What's stopping China and Russia buying up all your farmland?
Okay, let me ask you this
Justice,
question.
police, internal security,
Are
borders,
the-
immigration. Who's going to enforce the border?
Let me ask you this question.
Who's
Are the
going to
gay-
enforce the border?
There's no border under anarcho-capitalism.
Oh, so you're open border policy. Alhamdulillah, habibi.
Do you think?
So
do
all
you
the
think
things
the
that were
Muslims
fucking
wanna come-
America up, you're pro. You want open
these-
borders.
The only
correct?
reason they come into the West
You
is because
want
of social welfare.
you want open borders,
and
correct?
because Americans are bombing them.
You
don't
oh,
wanna
okay.
come
So
here.
that we have, yeah.
Wait, do you think they want to travel? Wait,
Yeah.
Tarek, do you think
So you want
Muslims
open borders
Try
because
to let
America
each other
bombed the Middle
finish,
East.
Guys, try to let each other finish talking. Go ahead.
Tarek, do you honestly think the Muslims want to leave their homes and come over here? Do you honestly think they want to leave everything behind, all they built, just so they can join a system that they don't
What the
even
fuck
agree
did they
with?
build?
They bombed it. What are you talking about? Did you see Gaza before and after it was bombed?
That
Do you
was
think they were
Israel.
living in U.S. and Israel. It wasn't just Israel. They did it with our consent, our taxpayer money.
Right.
So these
So
people.
why are they going into America?
Do you think people
Who's-
from
who's
Iran?
going- So you want open borders. So what about free trade? You don't want tariffs.
No, it's not going to help us. They don't work.
You don't want tariffs. Okay.
There won't be any tariffs. There's no government to impose tariffs.
Yeah. Yeah, and in terms of the big infrastructure, like who's building the roads, the water supply, things like that.
It's the same people who are building them now, companies. The government
Oh.
doesn't actually build them. They hire external companies to fulfill a contract. So all we have to do
Yeah.
is get a company
who's-
to fulfill a contract.
Who's going to pay those companies to build the roads? If everybody decides, nah, I actually don't want to pay for the roads. I don't want to pay for the water.
No, corporations have an interest to transport their goods. It's not like we don't transport things. So, majority, this is not
But
like
what
some sort of.
happens
First of
if
all,
there's no fucking road?
first of all, putting dirt on
What about
putting
the
tar.
electricity pylons?
First of all, putting tar on the ground is not some sort of sophisticated technology only the government can
Oh my
accomplish.
god. Mm-hmm.
And second of all, there hasn't been a new highway in
That-
America since like the 1980s. Do you think
The
like
railways.
yeah,
Who owns the ports?
whichever company is operating the port? Do you
Yeah,
think it's
and
only
then
going to be one port?
so one sec, and then that company says, you know what, we're shutting down that port. Same way Iran said we're shutting down the
Who's
Strait of
going to
Hormuz.
stop
What
people
then?
from making another port? Let's say a company does shut down a port. Do you think they're going to be able to
Yeah,
make a monopoly?
China and Russia buy up all your ports. They buy up all these companies and they close all the ports down.
It's ridiculous.
Where's the goods coming from?
Yeah, it's ridiculous to think that you can like
There's
put a
nothing stopping
port.
that.
Yeah, no, there's nobody stopping somebody from making a new port. It's ridiculous to
But
think
there
that you can
is
fill
there is in my system. The government.
it's ridiculous to think that you can fill up the entire edge of the shore with ports.
Yes, but while they're building that port, there's nothing coming into the country. No goods.
It's gonna get built, man. Nobody's
Which
gonna
then
stop
impacts
anybody.
which then impacts all these other industries the same way
There's
Strait
no
of Hormuz.
monopoly. There's no
Listen,
monopoly on ports,
Listen,
man.
Linda, listen. Same way the Strait of Hormuz, that being closed down, and that was only 25% of global oil supply. Now all the prices are going up. Oil's going up. Transport's a lot more difficult. Fuels, a lot more expensive at the pump. And that's one port in the fucking Middle East closing down.
That also applies to you. Things that apply to you are non-arguments. If this is a thing that both systems suffer from, that's a non-argument. That argument has no teeth.
Yeah. Okay, so then let's go back to again. It clearly has teeth, but in terms of like this whole thing of like, what happens if we start having like like we have gangs? Like, what's stopping them? What's keeping them in check?
Let's say there is like, I don't know, Hell's Angels biker gang going around like burning our women, raping our churches. They're not gonna live for long. People, do you think people are gonna tolerate that? No, people are rational.
Oh,
if you kill somebody's family member,
people are rational.
You make them your enemy. Do you think people are just gonna
clearly
like, oh, you killed that guy?
Rational.
Do you think people are gonna be like, oh, you killed that guy? That's perfectly fine. Whatever. It was just my best friend. You can do that. No. If everybody has a freaking MP40, if everybody's walking around with an MP40, do you think violence is a viable option?
Yes.
No. But okay.
Go ahead. You don't think gangland shootings happen?
How do you think? How long do you think those mass shooters last?
We have police force. Yeah, to keep them in check.
Yeah, and now we have.
If we didn't have a police force, it gets
no. You have
worse.
Guns. No, you have people with guns. A police force is just people with guns, and if everybody has guns, everybody's the police force.
They're held accountable by the state.
No,
there's a hierarchy of power.
Yeah. There's a authority. You have to go through this dumb process. Sometimes the cops can't even. Yeah, sometimes the cops can't even shoot somebody.
Police. So you want to defund the police as well?
They won't be a freaking police. What actually? There's no government.
What actually separates you from a progressive?
How can there be a police when there's no government, man?
So you were one sec when they were doing the march for defund the police, you were all for that. You're like, yeah, defund the police. When they were doing the open borders, you were like, yeah, let's open up the borders.
Okay, look.
When Trump put the tariffs in, you were like, fuck Trump, everything's gonna be more expensive now. What actually separates you from a Democrat, bro?
Because I want the masses to own guns, and I want the masses be able to shoot criminals.
You have the Second Amendment.
Do you think the Democrats want that? Do you think the Democrats want the store owners to shoot the people robbing their stores? No, they don't.
You were all for all these protests.
No, I wasn't.
The No Kings protest. Did you go to the No Kings protest?
I'm not a freaking lefty, man. What do you keep? How?
Do you want me to pull up the Reddit post again?
Do you want me to bring up Andrew Wilson's post First of all, I'm
This
following
is
it.
a
I'm
Reddit
following.
post where where the progressive elite is saying, "Let's go into MAGA," and now here we have Darth
Wait,
coming
wait.
along with a
Look,
right wing anarcho-capitalism, and it sounds exactly like the shit show the Democrats have been
what
pushing.
do you look?
Open borders, free trade.
all my posts on Twitter are just anti-Semitic shit posts. All of them. You
No,
can.
I'm talking. Yeah, I'm talking about like a progressive forum on Reddit. They were like, "Yeah, let's try to infiltrate MAGA," and you sound exactly like one of these
No,
crazy cunts.
no. We want nothing
Yeah.
to do with MAGA because we understand MAGA are owned by Israel. MAGA are just a bunch of Israel
Okay.
puppets.
Then we go to the whole Israel thing. So again,
They
let's get back to
Israel
the
puppets.
gangland. How does gangland violence and all this kind of shit? How does that like get stamped out? What happens there
If everybody
in your
has
system?
if everybody has an MP40, effectively everybody becomes the police force.
Can
So
everybody
can,
afford an MP40?
yes,
How?
we're gonna make everything real cheap. Everybody's gonna be able to afford freaking Panzer tank.
How?
We want
How
we
do you
want a
make it? How do you make it cheap?
through production where we are industrialists. We're not
What you mean through
primitivists.
protection?
No, industrialization. We don't need protection for. We don't need protectionism to be industrialists. All we
You-
need to be
You're
industrialists
not
is
explaining. Oh, we'll just become industrialists. Like that's what
yes.
Trump's doing.
No, he's
Industrializing.
putting
Yeah.
no.
So in
He's
terms of
putting
like material,
tariffs.
labor costs, all this kind of stuff, how do you make it cheaper?
No, what are you talking about? One of the largest companies.
How do you make it cheaper than it already
No,
is? Only
no.
30% of American adults have guns.
One of the largest companies in the U.S. just left for China, like not a week ago, under a week ago. Under Trump, the companies are all going to China because they're being regulated out of existence. The reason there's no industrialization here in America
Yeah.
is because
And they're
in
just
our
going to get
attempt to
tariffed.
be no, who cares, man? The industry has left.
They will not
We
be able
don't.
to sell into the American market. They'll be priced out.
That means we have nothing. If you can't
How
manufacture it
do we
here,
have nothing?
and if we can't buy
American
it abroad,
companies would still be able to produce, and you'll have more demand, more
we can't
like
produce it because it's been regulated out of the market. There's
what's the regulations?
for example,
Like, how do you make You're the one that's saying that every man, woman, and child even is going down MP40. Explain the capitalisms to me. How would you make that cheaper than it already is?
because if there's no regulation, all industry comes back. Now we're able to produce at home.
Oh,
And
it
if
just
we're able
comes
to
back,
produce at
bro.
home, everything becomes cheaper. If there's no patents, if there's no permits,
Are the
anybody can make
regulations
anything.
in the room with you at the moment? Is that what's going on?
My guy, I don't believe in permits. You do. I'm an anarchist. I don't believe in this freaking idea of rights, permits, authority.
Yeah, so if someone has schizophrenia, you're like, yeah, give him a gun.
Okay, do you think somebody
Someone has
who
schizophrenia, are you giving them a gun?
just give them a gun? You need a freaking job to buy a gun. And if you're working at a job, you're probably not a schizophrenic, right?
So what about the women that don't have a job? What happens to them?
You mean stay-at-home moms? Yeah, I'm pretty sure their husband, who's a completely rational person, is going to buy them a Mac-10, an Uzi, to defend themselves. Every housewife will have a Mac-10.
How? Explain the economics to me.
Yes, again, no government means no regulation. No regulation means
The
the
raw
whole
material
nation.
and production.
Yes, industrialization. Industrialization means everything becomes cheaper. If we achieve critical
It still has a
industrialization,
cost.
yes, there will be prices, of course, but nothing is stopping us from making it. That's a
No, you're not dealing with the whole thing of like if I can't afford this shit, then I don't own it, which means in your whole thing there's no police, there's no one there to protect me.
Do you think people are gonna be broke?
You're just like, good luck, bro. I've got my tank and my MP4, I got my Uzi and all this kind of shit, and I kind of like your house, so I'm just gonna take your house because you couldn't afford a gun.
Yeah, this is ridiculous. I don't go around looking at them like, oh, look at that house. You know,
Like, do you not think
look
theft
at Jeff
happens?
Bezos' house. Do you honestly think people go around looking at Jeff Bezos' house like, oh,
So,
I
like,
can't wait to
like,
take it?
all of a sudden we snap the fingers, anarcho-capitalism, we get rid of the state, and everybody all of a sudden just becomes like morally virtuous, and we're all
No,
just, you
because
know, kumbaya and shit, and all the prices just magically default down to like a couple of cents for a fucking tank and an MK Ultra or whatever the fuck. AK-47. Everyone
no,
says AK-47s.
we understand if you start to be violent, prepare to be confronted by violence. So if you try to become like some sort of a gang member, start shooting everybody, you're gonna get shot. You're not gonna last long.
That critique goes both ways.
Well, you're
But
the
in
one
my
tossing.
system, my system, like if you're a homeless dude, you still get protected. If there's a police officer there, he's going to take the shot and protect you. In your system, homeless dude,
do you-
you're fucked.
Who do you think has more homelessness? Who do you think would have more homelessness?
Deal
Read-
with what I just put towards you. In terms of the homeless, they're fucked. There's no one there to protect them.
They're fucked now. Do you not think the homeless are fucked
No,
now?
what I'm pointing to, like this whole aspect where it's like someone goes down the street with an AK-47 says, you know what, I'm schizophrenic. There's nothing there. There's no recourse as well. When that person gets caught, there's no recourse. You're just like hoping that there's going to be a good Samaritan with his fucking tank and his AK-47 that's going to be patrolling the streets.
Nobody's gonna be patrolling the streets. But if you think you're gonna get away with like just murder
Do you
in
know
broad
what a
daylight,
gang
that's not gonna
is?
happen. Yeah, it doesn't matter if you're a gang or an individual. Thinking that you're gonna get away with like murder on broad daylight, it's not a freaking realistic thing. You're not just gonna shoot somebody and expect no consequences.
Once we do the anarcho-capitalisms, we get rid of the state. What's stopping like a group of people coming together as a group and just imposing their will on the rest?
Because the people you're trying to impose your will onto also have guns.
Yeah, but I got better guns. I got drones. I got a whole fucking. I'm the CEO of Lockheed Martin. I got the latest military tech.
Okay, you would have to have like some like what you're saying is like Bob, who works at Lockheed Martin, is gonna oppress his neighbor, Jim Bob, because I don't know, maybe he hates his neighbor. It's
Yeah, we get rid
ridiculous.
of the state. We get rid of the American military. We get rid of the police force, all this kind of shit. I'm now CEO of the Lockheed Martin, and I'm like, you know what? I actually want to become king. What's stopping them?
Because Lockheed Martin won't be the only game in town. There will be multiple
What
corporations.
is going to stop them?
Yes, there's gonna be multiple corporations making weapons. It's not like Lockheed Martin is gonna have a monopoly it has now.
Yeah, I have the best, the latest
The
military tech,
best.
Yeah.
There's no such thing as the best.
and I'm just going to impose my will.
Yeah, there's no wonder
And
weapon.
despite the fact that
that's
you,
gonna-
all you motherfuckers want anarcho-capitalism, I'm just going to shoot you. I'm put you up against the wall and shoot you all. What then?
There's no wonder weapon that's gonna get rid of all your enemies. There's no such thing.
Okay, there's a country called Iran. I'm not sure if you're familiar, right? 47 years ago, the communists and the Islamists got together, right? And there was a cunt like me that was in the group saying, hang on a second, when those Islamists take power, they're going to line us up against the wall and shoot us all. And they were like, Teriak, be a good comrade. They're not going to do that. And then when they seized power, they lined up all the communists and shot them all.
Do you think
Let me
those
give you another
communists have
example.
guns?
There's a country called China.
They did
I'm
it.
not sure if you're familiar. There was an
Yeah.
incident called the Tiananmen Square.
Did those
Do-
people have freaking tanks?
Well, one group did.
Exactly. One group did. The
Yeah.
government.
And
The
they lined
government
everyone
did.
else up against the wall and shot them.
Well, what do you think would have happened if the other group also had tanks? It wouldn't have happened, right? Because there's no this.
You're
this monopoly on
presupposing that
violence
as soon as
doesn't
we
exist.
flip the switch and get rid of the state, everyone just magically has a tank.
Oh, yes. People are gonna fucking buy tanks.
With what money? People are already in debt.
It's not a. It's
The
not
people in
about the
debt
freaking
right
money.
now. The people in debt right now, how are they going to get their tanks?
It's not about the money, man. It's about the production. The money's just a way to freaking keep pricing. It's
We'll
just
just
a way
produce
to
it.
count.
We'll
Money
just
doesn't
fucking
matter.
produce it.
Exactly.
Do you see the way how this like just like again? It's just this communist utopia. We'll just produce it, bro.
That's exactly what we do. We just produce it. There's no regulation. Who's gonna stop me from making an MG42? Who's gonna stop me
And
from selling MG42 to the people?
who's gonna stop me from going on a psychopathic genocide spree?
You're not gonna get far. Yes, you'll be able to do that, but you're not gonna get far.
Who's gonna stop me?
Look, they already do that here. They don't get far. You're
Yeah,
gonna
what you're
get
one sec, Darth. We're not running away from this because what you're saying is there's going to be a corporation that's going to come in and they're going to stop me, which is the
It's
exact
not a
same thing
corporation.
of what the state does, but they do it on a national level.
I'm not saying that corporations are gonna come and stop you. I'm saying anybody can. When everybody's armed, everybody becomes the police force.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. It's like when everybody's,
Everybody will be
but
armed.
the 70% of people who don't currently have an arm, a weapon,
We'll arm them.
a
We're gonna
gun
arm
right
them
now.
too.
What you mean we're going to arm them? What you mean we? Are you fucking French?
We're gonna produce weapons.
What you mean we? Who is we?
The companies, corporations.
Oh,
The
the
people.
company's just gonna start handing out guns.
Why wouldn't you? Who's gonna stop them? If there's no government, who's gonna stop people from selling people MG42s? Nobody.
Bro, you don't even realize like you're supposed to be arguing for like anarcho-capitalism.
This
I mean,
is
the whole thing
anarcho-capitalism. Do you think we're pacifists? Do you not? We are aware that violence
So
exists.
companies are
We're
just gonna
gonna
start
confront
handing out
violence.
guns for free.
We're gonna freaking sell them. What the heck? We're capitalists, man.
Yes, and the people who cannot afford the weapon.
Do you think people in anarcho-capitalism are gonna be like poor hobos? No,
There's already people who are homeless.
the
People
only
in
reason
debt.
the only reason people are poor in America is because they can't afford housing, and the reason they can't afford housing is because there's building permits, there's rights to land, there's this ridiculous idea the government has a right to all the land, and you can only build on that land
The
if you
government.
have a permit from government. If there's no government, who's gonna stop people from building a
Wait,
home
so
wherever they want?
are you saying private property does not exist in America currently?
The rights. Okay, do you understand
The
property?
rights.
Do you know what a right is, right?
No, I don't.
A right is
According to
right
you,
is
I think a
it's a
tank is a
government
right.
no, a right is a government privilege. Right? It's something the government gives you. But rights can also be used to take away your stuff. For example, nobody in America actually owns land because you have to pay tax on your land. So nobody actually owns land in America. They're just
So how do, one sec,
leasing it
if you don't
from the
own the
government.
land, then how do you work out who's paying the tax on the land?
No, you lease the land, right? It's basically, for example, I think Tesla wants to put a freaking subscription service on your freaking vehicle to use the air conditioner. It's the same idea. Government is only giving you a subscription to the land. You don't actually own land in America. But if there's no government, then people are able to settle it anywhere they want, and they won't be charged.
What if we got rid of property tax? What would happen then? Do you own the land
There
then?
won't be any taxes, man.
No, I'm just saying if in my system, in National Socialism, we get rid of property tax and we let people buy tanks.
Well, that's the thing. Like, how you need an authoritarian system. You need to get away from like the system we have now. But that's not what you're suggesting.
Why do we need to get away from the current system? I just gave you proposed solutions in my system.
Do you think legislation is going to let you do that? No, legislation it won't let you do that.
Why?
Because there are competing interest groups. And the bigger interest group is the one that says we need to tax the land. So that interest group is going to end up winning.
And there's competing corporations that are already buying up the land. Nothing stopping these global, like that's like how they retain wealth. Yeah?
Yeah,
and what
there's
happens
no
is they just jack up the prices. Yeah.
There's no right to land. The corporations can only buy land from the government. But if there's no government, who the heck are they going to buy land from? They don't have a right to the land.
They just buy up all the land from the
They
individuals.
have no rights. There's no government to buy land from.
So then I just take the land. I'm
They-
Lockheed
they
Martin.
can-
I just send in the tanks.
The only way they can take that freaking land is if they build a building on top of it. But to say like, if Lockheed Martin says, we own this land because we say so, that's not going to work out. You think the people are going to put up with that? No. They're going to turn on Lockheed Martin. And Lockheed Martin are
Also,
made of people.
the people will rally together as a collective and form a
Do you think-
militia.
Do you think that? Do you
Kind
think
of
the owner?
sounding like a military.
Do you think the owner of Lockheed Martin is going to take on
Kinda
the
sounding like the
entire nation by
revolution.
himself? Yeah. This idea that Lockheed Martin,
And
He
would
himself,
that revolution?
the CEO, is going to take over the land by himself and say like, "Hey, workers, I know you guys don't want me to do this.
He just
but I'm gonna
issues the
fight all of
command.
you."
He just issues the command, and if you don't do it, then you're not getting paid.
If the workers don't freaking like, do you realize Lockheed Martin is
Like,
made of people?
One sec, like you say that, like in terms of like the government or the state, that these politicians are inherently corrupt or some shit like that. But these CEOs and these corporations, they're not going to be inherently corrupt.
They will be corrupt, but they don't have that power from the government. The only reason corporate corruption is
they've
so
no military.
effective.
They have
No,
nothing
it's-
stopping them from doing it. Like at the moment, there's a state there.
No,
that can stop them.
That's a reason why they're so corrupt, because they have the industrial military complex is only possible because
It's
of
still
the government.
people.
The
It's still
industrial
people either way.
the industrial complex.
You have
the-
no
the-
concept of human
The
nature, bro.
military industrial complex is only a thing because of the government. They only have power because they're able to get subsidies from the government. If there's no government saying, "Hey, you have a right to these pants and nobody can make this weapon ever again," they lose all power.
All right. So that is the coming up to the hour of the open floor. I think we were kind of looping on some of the things, so I think maybe the questions maybe get us into a little bit more here. So I think unless you guys really want to continue for another 30 minutes. Did you guys both want another 30 minutes?
I don't think we're gonna
I'm
get
easy
anywhere.
either way.
I mean, I'm basically the one who's been defending it the entire time.
Did you want to see if there's anything you could ask Teriak for 30 minutes? I'm willing to
Like-
do it if you guys want it.
Well, look, he never really addressed the conflict of interest within his nation because, for example, I can ask him, Teriak, is the homosexual part of the nation within your system? Because if he's not part of the nation, you're going to have to commit some sort of Holocaust or get rid of them somehow.
All right. So if you
Well-
wanna, do you guys both want another 30 minutes then?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. We'll do another 30 minutes and then we'll get into the Q&A. And chat,
So-
don't forget, everyone in the chat, don't forget, get those super chats in if you want to make sure your questions get read. All right. Because even if we go through the free ones and you're down on the list, we might not get to it. Right. So send those in. And just because, we're all here giving you a good show. So send them fucking super chats in. All right. But go ahead, boys. I'll put the 30-minute start. I'll start up the 30 minutes and I'll only be here if you guys get too much over each other and whatnot.
So how do you address the conflict of interest when you have like, would you say homosexuals would be part of your nation?
So what you mean part of my nation?
As
Like,
in
are the
they
people
are
that are like citizens?
represented citizens, yeah.
Yeah, so citizens. Like I don't have to worry about homosexuality because they're
So
not going
how-
to reproduce.
yeah,
my
but like,
policies are all pro-natal.
wait, you think like no more homosexuals are going to be born?
Sure, like they could be born, but they're not going to continue on their genetic thing.
So-
Like my whole thing is like strengthening the backbone of the nation. The backbone of the
No,
nation
but
is the nuclear family.
How are you
So
going
I'm
to
not going
address
to
them?
be concerned. I'm not going to be
Well,
concerned
we'll-
with policies for like. I'm not concerned with like pride parades and all this kind of shit because that doesn't
No.
benefit the nation.
So no,
My concern is reproduction.
will there still be gay parades within your nation?
No, why the fuck do I need gay parades?
No,
How does
are you going to ban
How
them?
does that strengthen the nuclear family?
Are you going to ban them?
You mean ban them?
like make them illegal.
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Okay, so you're gonna oppress the homosexuals.
We
but you're gonna
want
be-
pro-natal policies, comrade. Do you know what
Okay.
pro-natal means?
yeah.
Yes,
So yeah,
reproduction,
yeah, I don't care, man.
babies,
How do you address
incentivize
homosexuals?
families. What you mean, address homosexuals?
So look, if you're just gonna ban the homosexuals, right? You're gonna make them illegal. That means you're gonna have to put them behind bars. That means you're gonna have to go. You're gonna need some sort of
Well, I kn-
Gestapo.
Did I
To
say?
get
Did I?
to-
Yeah. Did I say that I'm banning homosexuals?
So you're not banning homosexuality?
You were talking about pride parades. I was like, yeah, sure, we can ban them.
So wait, so you're just banning the parades, but not homosexuality. It's still very much legal within your system.
Yeah, I don't give a fuck. They're not going to reproduce.
Oh, who's the leftist now? Who's the pro? Who's the ally? Oh
Is
my
that
God,
supposed to be a gotcha?
It is a gotcha. You were accusing me of being a freak.
Explain. Explain.
You were
explain
accusing me.
Explain the gotcha.
You were accusing me of being some sort of communist subversive. Here you are saying, yeah, homosexuality is okay. I mean, I might just ban the parades.
No, I'm indifferent.
If you want to be a homosexual,
if you
keep
and
doing
Paddy want to shove a cucumber up your arse, I don't give two fucks. I'm focused on families. That's the concern. It's the families. Pronatal policies. So there's not going to be any money for pride parades. Not going to be any money for like fucking
So
HIV clinics or whatever the fuck. It's like all the money goes towards a nuclear family.
So you're gonna basically ban the homosexuals from like participating and voting.
When did I say that?
Well, look, if you're not going to keep the homosexuals from voting, they're just going to vote for the pride parade to be legal.
What was my?
You understand that, right?
What was my restrictions on voting? Talk me through my voting process.
Do you understand? If the homosexuals can vote for the pride parades to be legal again, what's going to stop that within your system? It's a self-defeater.
What has that got to do with national security or the backbone?
I'm asking you.
It is not pronatal.
Is this part of your national security that we have to ban homosexuals from voting, and liberals as well, because they'll vote for the LGBT parades as well?
Okay, so I need to explain the whole aristocratic, because apparently you don't understand what aristocratic means.
No, I need you to answer.
Yeah,
no,
sound reasoning means you need justification, where you have premises and you have a conclusion, where the conclusion necessarily follows from the premises, and the premises are proven to be true. In terms of the limiting principle of the nation, this whole thing like homosexuality, that's not getting brought up because it has nothing got to do with the nation. If you and PJ want to go shove a cucumber up your fucking hole in your spare time, go right at it. I don't give two fucks. So long as you're not around kids, you're not doing it in public.
That's not the question, man. Are you going to bar liberals and the gays from voting?
Okay, let me just read out the voting thing. So, voting is privilege, not as right. We reject universal suffrage because unlimited democracy leads to short-term promises and national decline. The right to vote in national elections is earned, comrade. Okay, listen. I speak in Soviet language so you understand because you are communist. Stake in nation. Citizens must own residential property with meaningful equity or have completed honorable military or national service. Okay? So means you own house or you serve military, then you have stake in nation. Then we have civic competency test. Voters must periodically pass neutral tests on mathematics, logical reasoning, critical thinking, and because you have logical reasoning in the English language, that means you have English fluency test built in. It is built in, comrade. Competency.
The Navy has plenty of homosexuals, so that's one. Plenty of homosexuals own property, and homosexuals tend to be very intelligent. So yes, according to your system, homosexuals can indeed vote. And so if the homosexuals want to vote back for the parades, they can in fact vote back for the parades.
Okay,
But
how does that
you
serve
have
the
a
nation?
self-defeating you have a
How does a
self-defeating
pride
system.
parade serve the nation?
You have a self-defeating system.
How
Because
does
the
it serve the
homosexual,
nation?
my God, they can vote for it back. It's a self-defeating system.
No, they can't.
Okay,
There's
then
no
you
sound
need
reasoning
if
how you say pride parades is actually for national
can vote.
security.
No,
Pride
you
parade is for national
can the
strength.
under your criteria, the homosexual can indeed vote. So what's going to stop them from voting the pride parades back?
Because it has nothing got to do with national security or national backbone, and aka the nuclear family.
Yeah, but how are you going to stop them from voting is the question.
I don't need to stop them from
You
voting. What I've put in place is legislation that needs to provide sound reasoning how it relates to national security or the nuclear family.
okay?
Do you understand?
Okay, can people vote to make the laws under your system?
No.
Okay, so it's not actually a constitution or a republic. You're talking about a dictatorship.
Do I just need to read through my whole opening statement?
Are you proposing a dictatorship or
are
a
you
democracy?
intentionally being dense, or what the fuck are you
You're
talking about here?
being intentionally vague. Are you proposing a dictatorship or not?
I propose the exact same American system that we have. That the laws
Yeah,
are
it's a
made.
democracy.
Yeah, the laws are made. Yeah, from Congress,
We live in
Senate,
a democracy.
presidency, and judiciary.
Yeah, we live in a democracy.
And the laws put forward are based on the limiting principle of the nation and
We
the
live in
nation's
a
survival.
Yeah.
Meaning,
Yeah.
how does a pride parade, how does that impact a nation's survival? Justify a pride parade for national survival.
No, you're saying we're going to use the current system we have now, which is a democracy.
Yeah,
But-
sound reasoning for how a pride parade
Yeah, under a democracy,
relates to
Thing-
national survival.
things are changed through voting. So that can be changed through voting.
So wait, do you think?
Correct?
Yeah, do you
follow?
think that half the country? Do you think that like 51% of the country can vote to rape the 49% of the country?
They already did. What are you talking about? Gay marriage has already been made legal.
Okay, you have no concept, bro. What a republic is.
What are you talking? The liberal wet dream
The
already happened.
limiting principle is based on national security and national survival. So please provide me a sound reasoning. So premise, conclusion, or multiple premises and a conclusion that necessary follows, and the premises are proven to be true, how a pride parade increases the nation's survival. Go ahead.
The limiting principle is worthless if it can simply be
it's just worthless,
voted away. So unless you're not proposing an actual,
It's not voted away.
yes, because you're not proposing a dictatorship. You're still saying we're still working within the democratic system, and within the democratic system,
Okay, explain how a
change through
republic
voting.
works. Explain how a republic works. Do people just vote on the laws?
No, that's based on the Constitution. But we still it's
No.
it's a democratic republic.
Explain the process.
Well, you propose a bill, and then it goes through Congress, and then
By who?
I think the House proposes the bill.
Yeah. So the representatives.
That doesn't solve.
Yeah.
Yeah, this doesn't
you
solve.
vote to elect a representative. The representative have to
Exactly.
make the law.
Voting.
Yes.
The
So
whole problem.
the law would have to. One sec. Listen, Linda. The law or the law would the bill would have to outline sound reasoning how pride parades increase national survival is
The
pronatal.
problem-
So provide your argumentation, sir.
No, the problem is much deeper, because you're still working within the democratic framework. So within this democratic framework, they can simply vote that away, and now they can just vote whatever they want. This limiting principle that you're proposing can simply be voted away. That's the problem, and it will be probably voted away, because I don't think the homosexuals
Yeah.
are going to vote for it to begin with.
Yeah, and people can just vote away their right to vote. They can
Yeah,
just vote in a monarchy. Yeah,
they voted to
and
become a
that's the current
dictatorship.
American system. Yeah,
No, the Nazis were a dictatorship. They weren't a democracy. They weren't playing they weren't tricking people. They were upfront that they were a dictatorship. You're not proposing a dictatorship. You're proposing a democracy with extra
yeah,
steps.
but if the dictator becomes gay, then the dictatorship could just have gay pride parades.
My guy, in the same way.
So it's the same critique.
No, in the same look, the Second Amendment was a limiting principle. It got voted away.
He doesn't know what a fucking limiting principle is.
It got yes. The Second Amendment, the amendments, for example, the Second Amendment was a limiting principle. Guess what? It's dead.
Do you think that the president can just like say, "I'm doing an executive order and we're getting rid of the Second Amendment"?
It's exactly what they did in 1986.
So America don't. America
They
doesn't
passed
have-
it. They passed it illegally. It doesn't matter to them. Never
They
did.
passed it illegally.
Yeah, then they never had the majority vote. They just said, "Oh, it's a motion to pass," and they got freaking passed. You should. It's on freaking video.
Yes. So can you provide sound reasoning how pride parades, national survival?
They're not national
Off you go.
survival. But the problem is that
Yes.
your limiting
Okay.
principle.
Beautiful. Beautiful. So we've
you're
gotten
not
rid of
addressing
pride
the problem.
parades. What's
You're
your
not
next
addressing
concern
the-
with my system?
You're not addressing the problem. That's not even the problem I proposed to you. The problem I proposed to you is that your limiting principle, just like the Second Amendment, got voted away.
Yeah.
So unless you're not proposing a dictatorship, that's the problem. National socialism only worked because it was a dictatorship. It didn't let the gays vote. It didn't let the Jews vote. You think the Jews would have
Yeah,
voted
but
for
if the
their own
dictator,
extermination?
if the dictator
No.
was gay, if the dictator was gay, then the pride parades come back anyway. So your critique's invalid.
If the dictator was gay, well, yeah, that's the
Yes.
problem with your system.
No, you're saying the current form of government that you have is not able to stop the gays, but like the counter position that you're saying is like, no, but a dictator would be able to prevent the gays. But I just gave you the example of, well, if the dictator is gay
Well,
himself,
That-
then
look,
it's going to be
that's
gay pride parades all over the place.
Yeah, that's going to be dependent on the dictator, right? So like, if the dictator is
Yes,
gay,
and it's going to be dependent on the voters, isn't it?
yes, that's the thing.
Alhamdulillah, habibi.
Exactly. You have gay voters. There is, in fact, gay voters. So unless you're going to take their voting rights away, you have gay voters, which means they're going to vote to take away this limiting principle.
Yeah, so unless you wipe out all gays and all future gays, you make up some sort of a gay test, so you're able to test whether or not someone's gay and all this kind of shit, you're going to have gay dictators. So again, even in a dictatorship, you can still have pride parades.
Yeah, that's going to be dependent on the dictatorship.
So your
right?
critique,
So the dictator.
your critique goes no
No.
matter what form of governance you have. You put in a monarchy. If the king is gay, you're going to have pride parades.
Yes, because it's gay, right? So the power is within the gay monarchists. The power is within the gay voters. You still have voters within your system
Yes.
who are gay,
And how many?
who are liberal.
And how many gay people are in America?
Sorry, got a buzz over here.
About 10 to 13% of the American population.
Now, how many of them are liberals?
Who gives a fuck?
A pretty big amount, right?
Who gives a fuck?
No,
Your whole thing was like the gay voters. The gay voters are going to vote in the pride parades. They're going to vote away the limiting principle.
Yeah, do you think the liberals aren't going to vote away the limiting principle? I'm not sure if you realize.
They'd be voting away the
Look, I'm not
national
sure-
limiting principle.
I'm not sure if you realize, but the liberals outnumber us. There are more liberals than there is
No, not us. That's again. You keep saying we. You keep saying us, and again, like this goes into the whole thing of
right-wing.
like subversive, all this kind of shit. No. Come on, you are not the right wing.
You're not
You
right
are
winger, man.
subversive. You want
No, you're not. Look.
communisms, okay?
You
So in terms
you
of
want
even-
multiculturalism.
Even in your ANCAP, There's still going to be gays. There's still going to be pride parades.
Yes, but they won't have power. So nobody's going to be forced to pay attention to them. Nobody's
They
going to
don't
be
need.
forced to tolerate them.
They don't need power. They just have the pride parades anyway.
They can have them. They're not going to be tolerated. They're not going to be subsidized by governments.
Oh.
So if you want to go like
So in
freaking
my system,
harass
it's a lot more
gays-
difficult because I have a limiting principle based on national survival, putting the family first. Yeah, like policies only develop the nuclear family, and I
No,
actually
the
have
problem-
some sort of preventive measure, whereas you, California, just goes fucking wild.
No, you don't have a preventive measure because you don't have a dictatorship. The preventive measure would be a dictatorship in which you get rid of democracy.
A gay dictator.
For the liberals, for the gays. You're not proposing that.
So let me get this straight. So in your like anarcho-capitalist system, you have to wipe out the gays, you have to wipe out all the liberals. So we're wiping out half the population.
No, we're just gonna run them out of the
more than half
market.
the population.
No, we're just gonna run them out of the markets. We're gonna get rid of them through economic means.
Yeah, they go
not through
bye-bye.
violent
They go
means.
bye-bye.
Okay,
Non-violent means. But what if they say I ain't fucking leaving?
who cares, man? You're eventually you're gonna run out
You're
of money.
what you mean who cares? You're the one that brought up the gays.
Yes, because under your system.
And then you say who cares about the gays? You
Because
do, motherfucker.
No, because under your system, the gays still have power. Under my system, there's no subsidies for the gays. They don't have any rights. There's no protection for the gays.
Nobody has any rights.
Yeah, nobody has any rights, including the gays.
But including you.
Yeah,
You don't have any rights.
There is no freaking ANCAP parade. Do you think there's a parade for ANCAPs? There's a month for blacks, for homosexuals. There's not a parade in the month for anarcho-capitalists. They have special privileges provided to them by the government.
Right.
Do you honestly think there's an anarcho-capitalist parade month?
Yeah, no, I'm still trying to understand. I'm still trying to understand like how this is like, oh, we can't have National Socialism, even though it's an economic system, because the gays can vote.
No, I'm telling you.
But in terms of your own system, the gays have just as much power as you, and if they have more money than you, in terms of when we flip the switch, and again, you haven't explained how we flip the switch, the gays can just say, you know what, this dude doesn't like gays, shoot him, and you're dead, and there's no recourse.
What I'm pointing out is like, because you don't actually have a system to prevent the homosexuals from accumulating power, just like they have done within our current system.
Like, as we explained, with a monarchy, the monarch could be gay. With a dictatorship, the dictator could be gay. In your own system, the gays could just say, fuck it, we're taking over.
That's going to be dependent on the monarch, right?
No matter what, what I'm pointing out is like, no matter what system, you seem like this issue of the gays for you,
look,
no matter what system you have, the gays still have power.
Under a straight monarch or a straight fascist like Adolf, there are mechanisms.
Yeah, and under a straight government.
Liberals.
Yeah, and under a straight government with straight representatives.
Yeah, no, under a dictatorship, under a straight dictatorship, they have mechanisms.
Yes, under a straight government.
No, dictatorship. Not all governments.
No. In my system, you're putting in that keyword straight.
It's not a dictatorship. It has no mechanism.
But you're putting in the word straight.
Your democratic government doesn't have the mechanisms of defense how the actual nationalist socialist dictatorship had those mechanisms of defense against the liberals. Yes, they were extreme, but it was a mechanism of defense.
Now, in terms of the governments, the form of governance that you're talking about, like dictatorship or monarchy or whatever, authoritarian, if the authoritarian is gay, it's the same critique. It's an invalid critique.
Yes. If the dictatorship is gay, but we're talking about the dictatorship that isn't gay, right? A dictatorship.
Yes. And we're talking about an aristocratic national socialist system that isn't gay.
Yeah, but it's
the
not
next
a dictator-
critique.
The critique is that you're not a dictatorship. You don't have those mechanisms of a dictatorship.
So you want the dictatorship.
I'm telling you, your system is inferior because it's not a dictatorship. You're not proposing a dictatorship. That's the
Neither are
problem.
you.
I'm not, but I have mechanisms to fight against the homosexuals.
No, you don't.
Yes, your system provides them a platform for power.
So does yours. Remember, everybody's gonna have tanks. The liberals are gonna have tanks.
Yes.
Everybody gets a tank. It's like Oprah over here.
Yeah, but there's no
You know what I mean?
government to provide them
Remember,
with the
you were
tanks.
saying we the corporation are going to give everybody a tank and give everybody a newsie.
Give them.
So in your system,
We're not running
one
a
sec.
charity.
In your system, you've just given all the gays tanks and weapons. In my system, I'm at least putting in limiting principles.
Nobody's just handing out weapons. You have to buy your weapon. No, we're not doing away with capitalism. So it's not like we're
Okay. So we're back to the money. But what happens if the gays collectively get together and just start wiping out the straights?
Okay, do you think how many gays do you think there are? Not that many, right?
Okay, if there's not that many gays, then in my system, it doesn't matter if they're able to vote, even if they pass the test. They're not going to have enough voting power to actually pass any of this shit.
Yeah, but they
So,
have liberals.
alhamdulillah, habibi.
No, the thing is you have liberals. So it's not just the gays. The liberals are going to vote for the gays. Under anarcho-capitalism,
under
we
your
already hate the
system,
liberals.
in one sec, under your system, you have liberals. Like the people don't change.
Yeah, okay.
And the thing is, under your system, you have no borders. So now all the Mexicans are coming in.
No, that's the thing. Our system.
All the gay Canadians, all the LGBTs from the Canada is coming in as well.
No, our system makes it inhospitable to the liberal. Do you think the liberal wants to stick around? They don't like anarcho-capitalism. They're not going to stick around.
And then you're presupposing that they're not going to stick around. What if they play the game better than you?
I mean, if they do, good luck with that. Because if they do play the game better than us, they're gonna join us.
I've showed you multiple times that the critique that you have with the gays, it goes both ways. Your critique is actually bisexual.
No,
I think you have some latent homosexual tendencies, sir.
No, our system makes it inhospitable for them to survive. Yes, they can stick around. We're not gonna like Holocaust them, but we make it not hospitable for them to stick around. Like the Muslims don't want to come over here. Like the Muslims don't want to come over here, but since you made their land inhospitable, they have to come over here. Plus, we have welfare, so that's an incentive for them to come over here. If you get rid of
where did I mention welfare in my outline, my economic policy?
No, I'm saying that's a reason why the Muslims do come over to the West.
Where did I mention that in my policies?
I didn't say you mentioned it. I'm saying that's a fact. Why they come
this is why we had the extra 30 minutes for you to actually critique my position, and you just went on an anti-gay rant for about 25 minutes.
No, the critique isn't really about the gays. I'm saying since you're not a dictatorship, your system is subject to change to interest.
Neither is your system.
No, my system doesn't have a government. There's no vacuum. There's no power vacuum. Your system has
always
a power
vacuum.
No, there's not. The power vacuum only exists if there's the reward of government. As long as the reward of government exists, there will be a strive to get the power of government. The vacuum exists.
If we get a power vacuum because we've gotten rid of the state, who now controls the military? What does the military do?
What do you think causes the power vacuum? What causes the power vacuum is the promise, the reward of government.
It's the pyramid.
The power, the control.
You take away the keystone or whatever the top of the pyramid is. That power is going to be filled, and you've just changed the president to a CEO.
No,
yes.
Why something is causing in the suction,
and then you get your dictatorship. Yeah, then you get your dictatorship, which is what you actually want, and then you say, "Oh, well, now I'm the leader." Yeah.
Yeah, this idea that Jeff Bezos is going to kill his employees is ridiculous. Yeah, Jeff Bezos isn't out to kill his employees. That's ridiculous.
And
even if they're gay.
When did I mention any of that shit? And bear in mind, it's
you're
all
saying
these
like the corporations are gonna.
Yeah, all these corporations that are doing the pride shit. right?
for money.
So even in your anarcho, yeah, still gonna be the same thing. So your critique's invalid.
Oh no, you realize like they don't actually make money from the freaking Pride stuff. That's just a marketing gimmick, because that's the in
Because it
thing.
makes them more money.
No, that's just the culture pushed by our government right now.
Yeah, the culture
They-
is
they
gonna be the
liter-
same.
No, the government literally subsidizes all this trans stuff. A lot of it would go away if the government would just simply stop subsidizing the LGBT. A lot of the LGBT only exists
Yes.
because it's
And
government
my
subsidized.
limiting principle of national survival does that, which you don't seem
Again,
to have an issue, because you say, oh well, people can just vote it out. It's like, yeah, well then,
that's the
no
whole
matter what
problem with
system you put in place, it can be corrupted.
No, that's the main problem of all democracies, because you have these
No, it's
competing interests.
no. Listen, Linda. In all systems, in all governmental systems, there is corruption. Even in capitalism, there is corruption. So just saying it's like, well, it could be corrupted, Teriak. That's not a valid critique, because you're open to the same critique. You need to critique my position and show, no, it's inferior to anarcho-capitalism, which you haven't been able to do for the past hour and a half.
Your
Well, actually, 2
system
hours.
is your system is inferior because it suffers from the same problems we suffer right now. The problem is democracy. You have these competing interest groups who are under this
Did you ever
power
hear the
vacuum.
expression "vote with your wallet"? Like, what do you
That
think a
only
boycott
happen-
is?
Yeah, that's more effective under anarcho-capitalism. So you have this.
So
yeah,
one sec. So it's still voting. You're just voting with money.
it's not actually voting.
It's not an official form of voting, but it's still voting with your wallet.
It's just like an analogy. There's
It's
no
still
actual vote.
power. Yes, but it's still power.
Yeah. So people want
Yes.
certain objects.
So
Yes.
no matter what system you're dealing with, you're still dealing with power. And your whole thing of like,
Yes,
well, what if
also-
the gays get power? It's like, yes, no matter what system you have, the gays could get power.
No, the critique about
Yes.
your democratic the critique about your democratic system is you have competing interests. And so there's this power vacuum provided by the price, the reward of government power. Government power will always create a power vacuum
Okay.
for these
And
competing
let me explain
interest
the exact
groups
same thing.
to get
Let me
that
explain
power.
let me explain. Capitalism breeds competition. Competition for more money, which money equals power. So
We're
it's the
not
same
after-
system.
Okay, a single company doesn't work alone by itself. Companies work with other companies. Do you understand the problem with the pencil? The problem is the pencil is that no one individual can alone make a pencil. What is happening is multiple.
You're doing the Milton Friedman thing, yeah?
Yes, corporations work with
Yeah,
each other.
and one sec. What did Milton Friedman argue? That you still
With a
have to have
pencil?
military. You still have to have police. You still have to have judiciary. Not even the dude that you're quoting agreed with your position of anarcho-capitalism.
No, this is
See how I used your own quote against you?
no, this is a rebuttal against your freaking corporations competing with each other. They're not fighting each other. The competition is not really a competition. Companies work with each other. No company.
So capitalism
Is a-
doesn't breed competition.
Not in the sense that we're like there's a kinetic fights. There's competition in the
Did I
sense
say
that
it was?
that's what you're
Is there a kinetic fight in politics? Do the Democrats like get into the boxing ring with the Republicans?
in a way. I mean, they kind of do. They start shooting.
In a
Start shooting
way,
the president.
sis.
All right. So that is going to wrap up the open floor back and forth. Excellent exchange from both sides tonight. We're now going to enter the final phase of the debate, the closing statements. Quick reminder to the live chat, the Q&A is already up there for you, but if you've got questions for either debater, make sure you drop them in now. But remember, super chats, PayPals, Rumble Rants, Cash Apps, this will take priority. So if they fill up the entire 30 minutes, not all of those free chat questions will get through. So make sure if you really want something guaranteed to be asked, send it through one of the priority options. With that being said, we are going to move into closing statements. So you were first for the openings, Darth Theranos. So the way I do it is usually for closings, you'll be first again, and then Teriak will go last to give Teriak the last word, because that gives one first word, one last word. Let me bring up your timer here, and whenever you are ready, I will start the timer up with your voice.
Yeah, we didn't even actually get down to what system is better, because to me, better is about which system can provide a better living for the individual, a better living for the people's families. I'm not trying to appeal to like these exaggerated hypotheticals in which like people become like horrible monsters. People are not don't want to be horrible monsters. People want to live a normal, rational life. Even the crazy Marxists just want to live in peace. I mean, I think they're crazy. But I don't think even a crazy nutter like Kim Jong Un isn't willing to nuke the world. I don't think Jeff Bezos wants to like oppress his employees because somehow that's gonna generate more profits. This idea that gays are just gonna start roaming the streets, uh, burning women, raping our churches. It's just like a parroted talking point made up by lefties. Again, just because I want to get rid of government doesn't mean I want to get rid of like order. We still believe in some sort of hierarchy. We believe that the community will naturally be born out of this hierarchy. People are too much attached to money. This is ridiculous idea that anarcho-capitalists worship money. We don't. We're interested in production because we understand that production is going to lead to a better outcome for the world. That means people don't have to spend half of their income to pay freaking rent. People don't have to worry about food. We want to get people to get beyond just worrying about their daily lives of paying the next month's rent, and start focusing and increasing their wealth. And you can't get to increasing your wealth until government stops spending your money and stuff like LGBT programs. The reason I'm against democracies, again, is because democracies breed this competing breeding ground for interest groups to get the prize, to get the reward of government power. And once they get that government power, they're gonna start bashing the other groups. So that under democracy, there's always this power vacuum to get that government power to push to peddle your agenda, and that's never gonna better anybody. That might better that specific interest group, but that's not gonna better anyone. I think the best way to address the problem of homosexuality is to stop having government fund it to begin with. A lot of it is only a thing because government funded it to begin with. It is pushed in the public schools. That means it's government funded. Under private schools, nobody under a private school is going to willfully send their child to be indoctrinated. I think I think the nationalist socialist system only works well when it's combined with a dictatorship, because dictatorship gets rid of all the downfalls of democracy. The founding fathers were not for a democracy. They said they wanted a republic because they understood that democracy. I think Jefferson brought this up. The problem of parties, the problem of competing interests, and that's a thing that's become real. So I believe that it's not that the founding fathers failed us; we failed the republic. America failed to the republic, and you know, uh, I'll submit my time there. That's all I have to say.
All right. Thank you for that closing statement. And with that, we're going to hand the mic over to Teriak. Teriak, whenever you're ready for your closing statement, I will start the timer up with your voice.
So yeah, hopefully I done a decent enough job exposing this whole kind of like subversion that takes place. This whole like, oh no, I'm a capitalist, I'm a right winger. You know what I mean? But he talks about getting rid of the state, about seizing the means of production, about progressivism, about we're just going to combine libertarian and conservatism, and it's going to be utopia. Yous will all have tanks, apparently. You know what I mean? some latent homosexual tendencies as well. Like I said, like it was kind of funny the last like half an hour of it as well. But like, listen, like this is why like I put in like the whole like responsible citizenship in terms of voting as a privilege, not a right. So in terms of like the whole kind of universal suffrage thing, like I specifically mentioned that in my thing, stake in nation, civic competency. The whole kind of like governance structure is the same exact structure that we have in America. Congress, Senate, presidency, judiciary, checks and balances. And again, like I said, in terms of the whole like capitalism things, we still, like I said, man, if you want Lockheed Martin selling to China and Russia, we're going to be in a sorry state of affairs, to say the least. Stuff like core infrastructure, energy, education, money, finance, banking, all the stuff I mentioned, borders, immigration, demographics. As I pointed out, like his shit show of a thing is like open borders, free trade. We're magically going to industrialize, but China has slave labor, so that means American labor then in order to compete, has to become slave labor. And then we get ourselves back to communism. Like I said, with the whole statelessness, and then you'll be forced to work with the gulags because we're competing against China, because China maintained their state, but we're all narco-capitalists, all this kind of shit. Again, like he's anti-tariff, whereas we're pro-tariff. Monopolies didn't get there, but in terms of the aspect of like, that's what I was pointing to, was like, what if one corporation just swallowed up everything? You'd have a monopoly, and then what happens? You go off to the gulags and you have yourself basically a communism. This is why, like I said, I put like this whole aspect, like why it's superior specifically against socialism and communism. We reject total government ownership or a corporation ownership by strictly limiting socialization just to national security and the backbone needs, the nuclear family, pro-natal policies. We preserve private property, profit incentives, innovation, individual freedom. Against uncontrolled capitalism, again, we prevent corporations and international finance from hollowing out industries, offshoring jobs to China, eroding sovereignty for profit. Nations protected, not treated as a mere shopping mall. And yeah, like I said, like the whole aspect of like having a sovereign nation. This is why I brought up the whole the Reddit posts, and then this dude's ex as well. Like he's an ANCAP that has a National Socialist banner on his ex. Dude's a walking contradiction. But like I said, hopefully I expose this whole thing. And as a nationalist, I would say to any of the nationalists in the audience, you have to make sure you kind of stay vigilant for people like this, because they'll come in and they'll say, oh no, I'm capitalist just like you. I'm pro-capitalist, I'm pro-right wing and all this kind of shit. But when you hear them out, essentially what they're trying to do is they're trying to stain you and try to make them out to the caricature that you see the progressives try to paint you as. Oh, like I'm a racist and I'm against the Jays and I'm a capitalist and all this kind of shit. That's where the whole kind of smearing kind of like campaign, and that's why I pointed out with the Reddit post, like that's basically what the plan they're going with. They know they can't beat MAGA, so now they're trying to get inside MAGA and derail it, like we've seen with Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens, who are a lot more successful than this cunt. But like I said, kind of like hopefully I highlighted for you all and gave us a good funny show. And also shout out to Easy for hosting as well.
All right. Thank you for that closing statement. And with that, that is going to conclude the closing statements. Again, great work from both debaters tonight. If you are enjoying what you're seeing out there, make sure you like the stream and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any of the debates we host here on Swords of Reason. We run all kinds of matchups, political debates, cultural, social issues, philosophy, internet beefs, video games, movies, anything there's a conversation worth clashing over, we bring it into the arena. So also don't forget to subscribe to tonight's debate. Well, one of tonight's debaters' links is in the description. Make sure you go show support for stepping into the arena and sharpening their arguments in front of us tonight. So before I start the timer for the chat Q&A, I always like to ask a question or two to each debater myself based on things I heard, arguments I want clarified, points I think we're missing or deserve a pass, things like this. And then once that's those are answered, we'll begin the official 30-minute Q&A. So I've actually done something a little different. Usually I just write questions based off the arguments, but I've done something a little different this time. I wrote a scenario for both of you, and I want guys to kind of respond to the scenario after. So I'm going to start with Teriak's side. So your system has so this is the scenario I want you to think about. Your system has existed for decades and has achieved stability, but I emerge as a highly charismatic leader, successfully convince the majority of citizens that I possess knowledge of a coming national catastrophe. And I claim that unless the immediate changes I need are made, society will collapse. I begin identifying certain groups as threats to the national unity, and citizens gradually start losing rights in the name of the preservation and security. Initially, the changes appear successful, crime drops, the economy improves, national pride increases, and citizens feel safer than ever. As a result, even more people support me and willingly grant me additional authority. If the state itself is the instrument of authority, what mechanism is going to exist within this system to stop me from consolidating all the power?
Good question. Good scenario. This is why aristocratic is a key word in what we're putting forward here. Like in terms of like you look at the system that I outlined was pretty similar to the American system. Like in terms of like the if the arguments that you're putting forward is sound reasoning, as in like your premises are actually true and your conclusion necessarily follows, then that would be the procedure. Like that would be the correct course of action. You know what I mean? Like, and think about like conscription. You know what I mean? Like conscription technically goes against all of your rights. But if you're getting invaded by the Ruskies, by the comrades, then it's like fuck it. Like I have to give up my rights to protect my nation. You know what I mean? So like there's plenty of scenarios where it's like you would be like as a nationalist at least, like you'd be willing to lay down your life to make that ultimate sacrifice. I forget the name of the day, but it's like it's basically like a big military day like in America right now. And again, thank you for your service, because even as an Irishman, like trust me, like I appreciate the sacrifice that Americans make on a global scale to keep these tyrannical bastards in check, especially in the Middle East. You know what I mean? So in terms of like making that sacrifice, that's what makes it noble. You know what I mean? Like this whole thing of like my rights, my rights, my rights. That's why I even said, fuck this whole voting as a right thing. Voting is a privilege. You know what I mean? You need to earn it. We need to get back to a sense of duty to the nation. But we need to make sure that the state is actually serving the nation, not the nation serving the state.
All right. All right. And Darth, did you have anything you wanted to say to that?
No, it's a good reply.
Okay. Okay. And then, so now for you, Darth, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to paint you a scenario, okay?
Ask away.
So your anarcho-capitalist society has existed peacefully for decades. I emerge and successfully convince 1 million men that I am the returned Jesus Christ, and that society must be transformed into a theocratic kingdom with me as the ruler. These are not random civilians, these 1 million men. All right. They are disciplined, highly trained military level fighters operating under a unified command structure and committed to conquering territory and establishing my government. On top of that, I own one of the largest weapons manufacturing corporations in society, giving me direct access to production, logistics, and advanced weaponry. In a society without the centralized state, standing military, what specific mechanisms are going to stop me from taking land, expanding my influence, and gradually becoming the new state?
So, I mean, question: are we assuming you're just pretending to be the return of Jesus, or you're actually Jesus?
No, I've convinced a million
Okay,
men
okay.
I am the returned Jesus.
Because
So to
I just
them,
want
it's a fact.
to them it's a fact. I mean, we would have in our hands basically Muslims, right? This is basically Muslims, radicalized Muslims. What do we do with a bunch of radicalized Muslims? The thing is, under an
Make sure you're going
anarcho-capitalism,
to directly address what I'm saying. They're not
yeah,
radicalized Muslim. These are disciplined, highly trained military level fighters that are operating under a unified command structure, and they are committed to conquering territory and establishing me, Jesus Christ, as the that sounds horrible to say it like that. I am sorry,
yeah,
guys.
no, right?
But in this hypothetical, they think I am Jesus Christ. They're committed to that.
So if they're like a million, right? So it's a pretty big gang. The thing with gangs, the thing with the standing army, you gotta feed them. So eventually, these people gotta go to sleep. So unless this million is more than half of the majority, they're gonna be dealt with. Like to be an invading force, you need somebody to provide you with weapons, provide you with food. A standing army is not really i- to be a standing army. You
Don't
need a
forget, I
government.
also own one of the largest weapon manufacturing corporations in the society. So I have direct access to
Yeah,
production, logistics, advanced weapons.
but the thing under anarcho-capitalism, there won't just be one corporation. So it's not like you're gonna have a monopoly on force. You're not gonna have monopoly on violence. There will still be other companies manufacturing for other people weapons. But a standing army doesn't just it's not just made of a corporation that makes guns. It's also made of a of corporation who provides food, who provides fuel. So not only do you need like just the corporation who makes guns, but you need people working the farms and then taking that food to your troops. So not only do you need to convince your cult, you need to convince more than just like your cult. More than you basically need to convince at least half of the population. But if you convince half of the population that you are actually the return of Jesus, that's going to take some hard convincing. I mean,
Right. I
at
don't
that,
deny my situation here is pretty crazy that I painted
yeah.
for you. But again, in the society that doesn't have like a centralized state, a standing military, what would be this mechanism that's going to stop me from gradually taking land, gradually expanding my influence, and gradually becoming a new state?
Well, if it gets too radical, we do have nukes. We would resort to nukes. We are willing to resort to the extreme to put an end to it. We're not going to wage a war of attrition. Our narco-capitalism cannot sustain a war of attrition. It is not good at that. But anarcho-capitalism is providing a providing people to be wealthy. It can't commit to a war of attrition, so it must commit to a radical solution, which will be nukes. But even if this were
So
to
just to
happen,
be clear, in my scenario, I painted basically they'd all wipe themselves out.
yeah, but that would happen under any nation, right? If a nation, if a government nation would all of a sudden have its population become some sort of radical Muslim Islamics, they would be under the same problem in which they will have to basically nuke themselves. It's always going to be a
Okay.
lose-lose situation.
Teriak,
On
did you
that.
have anything you wanted to say to that?
Yep. Like, motherfucker, you French? Who's we? Like, this whole we that you're speaking of is a nation. People have shared culture. People have shared language, history, fucking religion. You know what I mean? Like,
when I say
one sec. What Easy just described is basically like if a nation rises up from your anarcho-capitalism, you're fucked. You're fucked.
look, if a Islamic nation rises up within the government system and takes half of the population, you're also fucked. That would fuck up any
No.
nation.
Like what's going on in like Dearborn, Michigan, all this kind of shit, that can be quelled by the nation of America.
No, look,
You have
if
nothing to one sec. You've nothing to rally the people together as a commonality, because as a note like that the anarcho-capitalists, they're all like individual, like we'll rise up, like keep
no,
saying we, but
if
he's coming at it from the individualistic mindset. But as soon as there comes a threat, all of a sudden he recognizes the we. He recognizes the group. What is that
no,
group? That group is the
it's
nation, which you try to discard.
no. There's a difference between nation and state. I'm not referring to a state. I'm not referring to a formal, some sort of a formalized system.
Would a
If
state be a group of people with a shared history, culture, language, religion?
no, that would be a nation.
Okay, then what's a state?
A state is that would be more like a country. So it'd be like a people under a system of governance. It would be a nation under a government. That would be a state. Like if
Performative
like
non-performance. That's what this dude has done. Performative non-performance. That would be a country, but like it's also a nation and state.
no
These are all words to
no
define the nation.
anybody can join a country, but not everybody can join a nation. Look, if that scenario because this scenario can apply to like even the government system. Let's say like half of the military became like radical Muslims. What is the how the other half of the military going to have to do? It's going to have to be like they would basically finish. They would like eliminate each other off.
Okay. Let me try something one more too. I'm gonna do one more for both of you. I'm gonna do one more for both of you. I think I got one more for both of you here. So okay, let's say that the anarcho. Let's start with the anarcho-capitalist side, and I'll go back to Teriak. So the anarcho-capitalist side, let's say it's existed 60 years. All right, and let's say five big corporations are now like control like all the food distribution, housing, internet infrastructure, private securities, because there would have to you said there would be like private security. So everyone still has like choices, right, in this, but the switching costs are like so high that most can't realistically leave. And then those corporations begin coordinating policies with each other. What would stop them from just becoming like a de facto government?
That's the whole thing of anarcho-capitalism. Corporations can't legislate policy. That's what a government does. So all a corporation can do is all a corporation can do is put terms and services.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So like they start like what I'm saying is the corporations start like coordinating like policies, as in like you have to do these types of things to get our services, basically. So like if they coordinate this, what would happen from them becoming a de facto government? Is there something to stop that?
Well, what's stopping that is that there's nothing stopping from competition from arising. So if competition can always arise, those terms and services only have power when they have a monopoly. They need to have a monopoly for those terms and services to become a cage. But if a company can just rise up overnight, they can never achieve a monopoly. A monopoly can only be granted through rights, privileges, and you only get those from government. The only reason we see these huge rise in monopolies is because government keeps granting them patents. Patents are basically a monopoly on imagination. He says you can't use this idea because this corporation has a right to this idea. Like you can't copy that. It's ridiculous. So we're doing away with all patents. We're doing away with all rights. We don't believe A company has a right to anything.
Okay. And then Terry, you have something for that?
Bunch of commie gobbledygook.
All right, all right. And then so for you, Terry, so like say I create like some like crazy new technology that could like massively improve society somehow. Whether it be health wise or massive amount of food production, something, right? But it's going to actually conflict with the cultural identity and like the economic goals of the nation. Do I still have the right to pursue it against the will of the state? And if not, how do we avoid what's the word I'm thinking of, like stagnation? Like how do we avoid that if you can't?
Yeah, that's like a really good question. Um, like this is the whole kind of like social engineering aspect and the whole kind of like AI. Like AI and robotics is basically kind of like a perfect example of this kind of thing where it could cause like mass upheaval and all this kind of stuff. Think about the amount of jobs that could possibly be eliminated from like, let's say, like mega AI and robotics and all this kind of stuff. I would say as the state, you would still pursue it, but you would try to like artificially slow it down and over time. Like you wouldn't want to have like stagnation as a nation. Um, you would still like I said, kind of like artificially try to kind of like slow down the incorporation to it. But that is like technology is always a disruptive force when it comes to a nation. So like I said, it's a difficult one, but in terms of um like I was saying, the main thing is to keep the nation going and the nation like continuing and surviving. And obviously like technology can help us out to survive longer and all this kind of stuff as well. And improve us as a nation, all this kind of stuff. But you don't want to make sure that you're not actually, you know, like having riots on the streets and all this kind of stuff as well. So there's always that's kind of like the seesaw of balance, you know.
All right. And did you have anything you wanted to say for that, Darth?
Nah.
All right. So we're gonna get into the official Q&A now from the chat. And like I said, chat, if you want to make sure you get your question in. The super chats, PayPal's, Rumble Rants, Cash Apps, these will all take priority. But I don't see too many in the super chats and stuff here, and I don't think even many are questions. So if you have questions, get them in the Q&A there. But here, we're gonna start at the top here, and let me actually open my. Sorry, I gotta open my studio just in case we got questions from the Q&A. All right, so let's start it up here. All right. Let me see here. We got $2 comes in from Smoky Bear Bad. Don't read this as a question for the number one spot. Too bad, motherfucker. Sempiternal Chaos sending in two just to show some support. Thank you very much. I appreciate that big time. Smoky Bear Bad just showing some support with a $5 super chat. I appreciate that big time. There is only one question for the Q&A tonight. Is nationalism a bad word? Debate over.
No.
What's next here? 5, we got showing the dono bar my affection from Daniel Ramirez. Thank you very much. I appreciate that big time. Prince of Dogs comes in for 5, says easy and fam, God bless. Salute Terriac, good to see you, bro. New guy, welcome in. Let's fucking go check, hit those donos in. Let's fucking go. I appreciate that big time, dogs. Wicked Wally for $5 says, for both debaters, we settle the whole debate right here with this one. Is nationalism a bad word? We will keep asking until this settles the debate.
No.
No.
What is anarcho-capitalists?
We got gifted 10 speakeasy memberships from Abby. Let's fucking go. Thank you very much, Abby. I appreciate that big time. Johnny McVito for $5 says, Darth, if everyone gets a gun and half the population took those guns from the other half, and if they fight back, they die, who then runs the world?
Who says the other half is gonna let them take your guns? It's like the other half isn't just gonna surrender their guns.
No, I think he's just trying to paint a hypothetical that has happened.
Well, this is the thing, like, for example, the warlords in Africa, the only reason they're effective of taking over is because the people they're subjugating don't have guns. The reason the people are able to take over anything is because the people you're trying to oppress don't have a means to fight back. Once you get rid of this power inequality, people tend to be a little bit more respectful. When you know the person across from you has a gun, you tend to respect them a little bit more.
All right. Mo Rebuttal for $10 says P1, rational actors organize into collective defense groups. P2, dominant groups enforce rules within their territory. C, ANCAP conclusion, ANCAP doesn't abolish the state, it removes the leash. Welcome to Somalia.
Alhamdulillah, Habibi.
Yeah, for example, the thing is, like, they assume people are like, by day they're rational workers who have a day job to make money to buy the guns, to manufacture the guns, but by night they turn into like wild heathenistic warmongers. No, they go back to their families. People don't want to be warmongers.
Africa, Middle East.
Yeah, we push them into that.
Abby comes in for 5, says, Darth, define ownership.
Ownership is the control of something. If you control something, you own it.
Okay. Johnny McVito for $10. Darth, is homosexuality a born trait? And why would you need to Holocaust to remove gay when the path they are on would lead to their extinction? They don't reproduce. If taught, it's not born.
Well, the question is, who taught the first homosexual then, right? I think there is an element, not that there is a gay gene, but there seems to be a broken gene which leads to autism. And some of these forms of autism tend to make people more perceptible to homosexuality. So there is some sort of genetic element, but for the most part, it is cultural, I would say.
Okay. What do we got else here? Drew's Got Drinks comes in for $5. Thank you for that, Drew. How would we enforce rights under ANCAP?
There's no rights. There is no trans rights.
Rights.
There's no black rights. There's no human rights.
Right. Okay.
So like necrophiliacs, all this kind of shit. It's all fair game.
Who's stopping them now? It's not like people are gonna let, like, oh, you're gonna dig up my granny just so you can do her. No, nobody's gonna let that happen.
I just thought of a random question because of what you guys were talking about. And it's not to like target your side, Darth. It's just because of what you guys were talking about. Jeffrey Epstein, who stops that in ANCAP?
Mob justice. on the current system, they're being protected by the Department of Justice, more like the Epstein Department. Under anarcho-capitalism, they would be lynched.
But couldn't I just, when I asked you that question on, like, when I said in reverse, I would have the mob that takes over, you said basically, well, they wouldn't just let you do that. So, like, couldn't I just say in reverse, the pedophile ring's not going to let mob justice happen? They have guns too.
Well, this thing, it would have to be like the pedophile ring is like made up of millions, right? So the pedophile ring is probably a 100 at best. People are not going to let that slip. And like even one individual alone can act. So even if there's one individual out there acting on mob justice, there is justice.
Okay. All right. What do we have next here? Do we have any more? Oh yeah. Wrath of Reason comes in for $10. Says shutdown over. I'm back for a week or two, motherfuckers. Let's go. Thank you, Wrath of Reason. I appreciate that big time. And then we got something must have happened there. We got Johnny McVito comes in. Teriak, the common synonyms for socialism are collectivism, communism, state ownership, Marxism, social democracy, and leftism. Are you a leftist?
No, and like this is what they call National Socialist far right. This is what like the socialism or socialists as an isolated word, their end goal is communism. That's their quote unquote limiting principle. But if the limiting principle is National Socialism, it basically looks at what like you seen that I laid out. Like there's certain industries that like you wouldn't want Lockheed Martin like selling to China and Russia also. There's certain things that need to be socialized, nationalized. Big infrastructure like roads, power grid, water, energy, right? Like national oil reserves and all this kind of stuff. So it does get like a lot of confusion. That's why I have a secondary way to call it, which would be aristocratic national republicanism, which I think would suit a lot of like right wingers more. I'd seen JS in chat as well. He said it before. It's like, I don't like the dang socialisms. I don't like socialism. So if we call it republicanism, then it solves that issue.
Well, the only people claiming that the only people claiming that nationalist socialism is right wing or the leftists, because they don't want to be associated with the Nazis. But I would say the Nazis were like center authoritarian. They weren't either like capitalists or socialists.
Like the vast majority of the system I outlined, like I mentioned, like shops, retail, entertainment, services, small manufacturing, like all that stuff is fully capitalistic.
All right. Let me see here. Johnny McVito for 5 says, Darth, the corporate elites were the biggest attendees to the island, the same people running your system.
Well, not just the corporate elites, but the government elites. Of course, poor people aren't going to go to the island. They can't afford it.
Okay. Yeah, so all the powerful people in the corporations,
but from the state as well.
Same issue. Yeah, but now there's no rights, there's no laws. They're never going to be held accountable.
Yes, it will. Mob justice. We don't wait on this the Department of Justice, which hasn't even gone after any of them.
All the major corporations go to that island. What do you think is going to happen? Mob justice?
Yes.
They're going to kill the dude that's paying them?
Okay, the only reason those people who we know are on the list, they're not behind bars right now, is because of government. If the government went away...
The only reason we know about it is because of government.
No. We know of it because of whistleblowers. The government is trying to hide it. Do you think Donald Trump is releasing the list?
Who released the list?
No, nobody has. Nobody's released the list. That's the problem.
3 million emails? Who released it?
They released what
Who
was not
released?
incriminating.
Who released the 3 million emails?
They haven't released jack shit. What they
Who
released?
released the 3 million emails?
It was people like Thomas
Donald J.
No,
Trump,
no. It was people
the
like Thomas
government.
No. It was people like Thomas Massey who got kicked out of
Oh,
government.
another government official. Yeah.
No. He got kicked out by the Jewish-owned lobby. Thomas Massey, one
Yeah.
of the
So
few
government.
Republicans. No,
That's why we need the government,
he's
because the
gone.
government actually has your
No,
back.
No, he's gone. They kicked him out
Yes.
of government.
Yes.
No,
Yes.
he's not in government, man. He got kicked exactly out because he was going after the files.
He was in government.
He was in government. He got kicked out because he was trying to pursue justice. They
Yeah,
kicked
so
him
was
out.
government.
No, there was no justice, man. The government kicked him out.
All right. Do we got any more there? Oh, yeah. Southern Man for $5 says, I always wondered what a Pakistani with DS would look like. Now
I'm not Pakistani.
Oh, Down
think that's
syndrome.
Downs.
I'm like,
Yep.
what the fuck is he saying? Oh my god. You tricked me into reading that, asshole. All right. Is that it for the super chats there? Yeah, okay. Then let me go over to the chat Q&A. Oh Lord. All right. Original Vintage says, how deranged do you have to be to think flying a Nazi flag on your ex account and labeling yourself a professional rapist is a joke? That's
Yeah,
not
because
funny. It's sick.
I have a sense of
It's
humor.
subversion.
Look,
All right.
they sound like a little liberal moralists. Stop clutching your pearls there, man.
All right. All right. Darth, how long have you been on the FBI watch list? This is also from the Original Vintage.
Longer than Trump.
Fair. We got Lord Random Person says, for Darth, what's to stop companies from burning each other's businesses down to get rid of the competition?
Again, like companies don't work alone. There's not one single company that does everything by themselves. They're all dependent on each other.
Okay.
And how would you prevent the monopoly taking place?
Well, monopolies are only an outcome of government protectionism. So if there's nothing stopping somebody from building a competing company, there will never be a monopoly.
No, but you have like one company and they just keep buying up all the other companies. They just keep using their profit to buy up the other companies.
Look, if that's the case, I would just keep making another company, right? That's not a viable model.
Yeah, but I then employ like 99% of the population. What are you going to do then?
Yeah, like a single company employing like 90% of the population. It's crazy. It's like it's the crazy scenario.
Just never happened, bro. We'll all have tanks, right?
Yeah, like there's nothing stopping another company from arising. That's the thing. There will
Yeah.
always be a company that can arise, and because a company can always arise, no single company can ever have a monopoly. A monopoly is only achievable if government provides you with rights, protectionism, and privileges. Government has to come and say, you have a right to this patent. Nobody else can make this product except you.
So you can't
Okay.
stop monopolies.
There would never be a monopoly. Look,
It just never happened.
look.
Let's go.
Let's say a company
I
is
get
making,
it. Call me gobbledygook. I get it.
No, let's say a company is making MG42s, right? And they buy all the companies that making MG42s. What's to stop another company from also developing MG42s? Nothing. It can't be a monopoly because there's no patent rights.
I buy up all the raw materials. All the companies that produce the raw materials.
You're gonna buy the entire planet? It's ridiculous.
Do you realize like how much money the city of London has?
Look, to say you can buy up the whole dirt of the entire planet.
Like, do you
is
know how
ridiculous.
much money the city of London has?
A lot. I don't know.
in those offshore accounts, anywhere between $50 to $100 trillion. They could buy America right now.
With our debt, I think our debt is like 20 something trillion, 30 trillion.
Not even close. Just over 40 trillion.
Jeez, last time I checked it was 30.
All right. And then my next question that came in from Johnny McVito in the Q&A there says, who leads in the anarcho-capitalism? Like, who would represent us to other countries?
There is no leadership. We're trying to get rid of this
There is
this
no
mental.
us.
We're trying to get rid of this mental disorder that anybody has authority, that somebody's preferences overrule your preferences. Government is nothing but secular preferences. It's just a bunch of atheists telling, well, my authority is legitimate and blah, blah, blah.
So would there be like a representative though, or no?
No, we're not participating in this.
Oh, you wouldn't. You just keep off of the world stage.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Oh, okay. That. Oh no, there is one more. Sorry, 1 second. Let me get that over here for you. This one comes in from Seahawk. Seahawk Daddy. Google says the only time National Socialism has been in power was Germany during the World War II era. Is there another example Google is not listing?
Yeah, that's a vast oversimplification. National Socialism is an economic political philosophy. And that's why I paired it with strictly aristocratic national socialism. You want your economic policy to be around that national socialism. And like I said, once you break it down of socialism with the limiting principle of the nation, you then, and again, I generated all this. You can go back, check the streams. A bit of a shout out or a self promo. You can go back, like I had a stream, a study session stream where it was Marxism and Marx, obviously the delusion of communism. We exposed that, but then we also took on the critiques of capitalism. And what you're seeing unfold right now in America, well, what was going on in America and what's currently going on in Europe is basically deindustrialization, open border policy, free trade and all this kind of stuff. And why that's a negative thing. You just basically have a bunch of these conglomerates or these global capitalists that come up and just to kind of basically use your country as how they see fit. And how are you able to prevent against that? Well, you have to be able to socialize certain industries. Like, for example, like Gaddafi is a good example of like what happens if you try to do this shit. They get rid of you. He tried to nationalize the oil reserve. Every household, like their car was half paid, the education was free, the healthcare was free. And then with the currency as well, he tied it was called the golden dinar. And they don't like sovereign nations, the British imperial system. That's basically who's behind this whole like global capitalism kind of thing. But that's why I was trying to point out in terms of debate tonight that like this global capitalism or anarcho-capitalism is essentially just another way to get to like this whole communist shithole essentially on a global scale. So in terms of the National Socialism, we need to kind of like mature a bit and kind of understand what limiting principles are. And to that, I say massive shout out to Ryan C. Malati. He's been screaming from the bell tower about limiting principles and how modern day liberalism has no limiting principles, which means they will end up in this like communism delusion essentially. Like there's nothing stopping, for example, like the likes of Wick or Destiny, whatever. Like they have no argument, they have no limit for them coming up, becoming Hassan in another 10, 20 years. We need to understand what is a limiting principle and limiting that principle around the nation, because even as my opponent kept saying we or us and all this kind of stuff, it goes back to your country flag, it goes back to your people, it goes back to your history, your culture, your language, you know what I mean, your religion.
I would actually say that China is actually a nationalist socialist. And here's the thing with China. The reason they're effective is they're a dictatorship. They're a nationalist socialist dictatorship. They claim to be communists, but they pretty much dropped the communist gig. Nobody's buying that they're communists. But here's the thing that the Chinese say is, yes, we're a dictatorship, but we're more effective than America because there is no there is no interest groups fighting. The dictatorship is able to change, is able to is very flexible. China is an example of nationalist socialism working. It is the dream of Adolf Hitler. Racially speaking, they're homogenous. They're not really into race mixing. So China is the continuation of Adolf Hitler's dream.
And this is why it needs to be aristocratic, which is why I mirrored it off the current American system, the government system that the founding fathers came up with the checks and balances. Absolute a thing of beauty, I dare say.
Yeah,
But in terms of like the human sect, in terms of like the creativity that comes out of America, Elon Musk could only develop in a place called America. Elon Musk could not develop in a place like China. Like, show me one Chinese man that's self-landing rockets.
No,
that is ingenuity. That is creativity.
No,
that doesn't happen in China.
No, the reason China was able to catch up to us so fast is because they dropped this bullshit about rights and patents. They don't give a shit about that.
No.
Yes,
no.
they don't. They copy our stuff all the time.
The reason why China caught up to you is because America was being undermined by a thing called the British imperial system, which is what I've been pointing out with the global capitalism and the they use the communists as like useful idiots essentially because they believe in the delusion. But they deindustrialized America through the likes of open border policies, free trade. And when you have free trade and you're like against tariffs, there's nothing stopping China undermining America, just copying the shit that America is doing, even though America is the more creative one, copying what America does and just using slave labor to produce them.
No, America.
No, that's an objective fact.
No, America
You can't just say no to that. You don't understand.
I'm gonna answer
like the importance of tariffs, because if you have tariffs and you're against free trade, it means you can protect your industry from slave labor from China.
Let me follow up, man. America deindustrialized itself in the name of anti-pollution, and so when they it basically sent all its industry abroad. But China didn't do that. America did that to itself. The reasons China was able to catch up so fast is because they industrialize. They dropped the economy.
One sec. Who's one of the biggest proponents in terms of the environmentalism and all this kind of shit? The king. What happened and who pushes the environmentalism? It's sure as fuck not the Republicans, it's the Democrats. What was the Democrats screaming? No kings protest. What happened when a literal motherfucking king came and addressed Congress? Every single one of those cunts were giving standing ovations to a king. So I don't want to hear shit about, oh no, America done to itself. No, they were undermined by the British imperial system. But the American system is back, baby. And it's being championed by the one and only Donald J. motherfucking Trump. And I get a hallelujah.
Derek, people voted for those environmental regulations. People voted for it. So again,
all right.
They did not vote for those regulations. They voted for the people, and the politicians lie and they promise them all sorts of shit. But it's the politicians that put forward the legislation. So this whole thing of like what you think America is.
All right, we got a couple more. We got a couple more questions here. Let's see if we can get them in here. This is more of a statement, but Johnny McVito says, think of companies like cereal brands, Lucky Charms, Frosted Flakes, Cheerios, all major brands owned by who again? General Mills, i.e. monopoly. Who stops that?
Yeah, if there's no government regulation, there is FDA. Like, not everybody can just like make their own cereal and put it in the market. If there's no government regulation to stop a cereal company from springing up, what's to stop that company from springing up? These monopolies are always created by government regulation.
All right. Next one we got. This one comes from AVG Female Debater. Says, does Darth understand competition legislation?
There wouldn't be any legislation. There's no government.
No, she's talking about in the current system.
Yeah, the current system, the companies legislate for their own interests. They're an interest group who's going to vote, who's going to lobby
He
for their
doesn't.
monopoly.
Page, he doesn't understand it.
All right. And then also from AVG female debater says, if he thinks China is so successful, why doesn't he live there?
Because China's racist and base.
That's why you don't live there?
No. Because
The question is why you don't live there.
Because I'm not a nationalist socialist. I'm an anarchist. That's why.
Okay.
With a National Socialist profile picture on X.
This one comes in from Johnny McVito, says, with no one in power, who or what is the great unifier in the anarcho-capitalism society? You say people would team up. Under who? With no leader, where's the basis for the foundation?
That's exactly what we're trying to get rid of. We're trying to get rid of this idea that authority and kings will lead us to will unify us for a greater good. What these dictators always end up doing is dragging us into wars and ruining not just other nations, but ruining their own nations in the process. The dictators
Yeah, I think Johnny's basically asking like why, like, you know, in the situation I posed earlier with the, you know, million men and everything, why would people team up against me? Like, what are they going to team up against me under? Why? Or who?
I mean, look, if you're going around just like willy-nilly killing people, people are not going to like.
Well, no, that's not how usually it would be. Like, you know, I would say, look, I have 1 million men with all these guns. If you want our protection from everyone else around here, you need to fight for me. If not, we're going to take your house down.
Well, let's say you need to take away the people you're quote unquote protecting. You need to take away their guns first, because they're only.
Oh yeah, that too. Yeah, that too. Yeah, that too.
Yeah, you need to disarm them in order for them.
Yeah, I would tell them
despots.
Yeah, I would tell them. Yeah, I would tell them, give me your guns, or I'm going to kill your kids or some shit.
Yeah, that's like they're not going to give your guns. Like only the stupid.
They're kids? Damn, bro. Who are these people? They're fucking crazy.
I'd say only the stupid are going to surrender their MG42s.
Okay, all right. And the next one comes in from Johnny McVito, says, Teriak, in how many minutes do you think a society with no leadership, no government, no organization, full of snake oil salesmen, and a fallback policy of nuke yourself would last?
About as long as it took to say that question. Like I said, this whole thing is like this anarcho-capitalism is just a psyop for communism. It's like the right-wing version of getting to communism.
I mean, how do you not
we have to read Marx very carefully.
Okay, I gotta make it real simple. More government equals communism. Less government, anarchy. They're complete opposites.
Yes, and when things descend into anarchy, you eventually have a tyrant that rises up. Read some Plato.
No,
tyrant will rise up. The warlord, as Easy kept trying to say, is like, well, what happens if you do have this?
Yeah,
what
let me even give one more for this last 30 seconds, because you brought up Andrew Wilson earlier, so you obviously know who he is. You don't think Andrew Wilson in a anarchy capitalist society could convince enough men to fight for him for what he wanted?
No, I don't think so.
What? All right.
Because he's only good at debating liberals. He's not. He actually had a debate against a libertarian. He got.
Is that a challenge I'm hearing?
No, I'll debate him.
Will
he's afraid to debate me. He's afraid to debate me.
Send me the topic you would like to debate him on that, and I bet you're gonna eat your words on this very platform, my friend.
Okay, who's for Zionism? We can do religion because he's a religious guy. I'm a religious guy. We can do paganism versus Christianity. He's going to run away from that topic.
I don't think he would actually. Okay, I'll message him. I'll message him about it. Paganism. Let me actually write that down too.
Paganism versus Christianity.
And let me just
which
say,
one's true?
God bless the house.
Wait, which one's true? That's kind of vague. What if we did paganism versus Christianity for society?
I see. That's kind of vague for me. Okay.
Well, like which one would be better for society, like morally, economically, whatever you want to go with?
Okay, we could do that.
Okay. All right. All right. I'll message you that about that after, and I'll message Andrew about that. All right. But that is the time on our Q&A. First off, I want to say big shout out to everyone in the chat for all the engagement, the questions, the support. It's again, it's what helps me bring you guys this entire Swords of Reason experience week after week. So I appreciate every single one of you. With more than words can express. And of course, again, huge thank you to our debaters for stepping into the arena tonight and sharpening their ideas in front of us all. Before we move on, let me check real quick. Are either of you planning to hang out for the open panel tonight?
Hell yeah, brother.
Okay, awesome. So I've been doing a thing too that I've been separating the streams with these debates and the after panels. So real quick, I'm going to put the StreamYard in the back too for you both, so I don't forget. That's the other StreamYard for the other stream that we're doing. So what's gonna happen right now, chat, is we're gonna roll the debate outro song and video. That's gonna run for about 4 minutes. Perfect time. Everyone hit the washroom, grab a drink, stretch your legs, do whatever you need to do before the Chaos and Chill open panel begins. During that outro, I'll drop a link for that StreamYard for anyone in the chat who wants to join the open panel, test your ideas, continue the conversation on tonight's topic. Anyone is welcome to come hop in. Just come ready, think, question, debate, of course. And if you're coming up to try to troll, spurg over everyone, bring your personal dramas, you're just going to get muted and most likely booted real quick. So while you're ahead with this idea, just quit. Before we run the outro, one last reminder, make sure you guys go subscribe to Teriak. He's in the chat, and I didn't even know this guy had an X, but he didn't have anything to share with us. But if he says he wants to, I'll put that in the link for you guys after as well. But go subscribe, all right? If you're enjoying these debates, make sure you guys subscribe here to Speakeasy's channel as well, all right? Because you don't want to miss any of the upcoming Swords of Reasons battles, all right? Mondays, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays. This is where logic meets passion, all right? So we're going to roll that outro, and anyone who wants to just stay here and get transported over, it is going to raid over to that other stream. But if you would like to go over there ahead of time, it is running... Wait for it. It's running right now. I'd like to earlier than the outro. But again, thank you, everyone. And we will see you all in a few minutes for the Chaos and Chill panel.
Step into the circle where the echoes collide. Truth through the static, no place to hide. Iron tongue, sharpen fire in our breath. We dance with conviction on the edge of death. Your words are bullets, mine are storms. Ideas forged where lightning forms. No retreat, no treason. We clash our swords of reason. Cut through lies with steel precision. No faith, no fear, just raw collision. We clash our swords of reason. Facts burn brighter than a prophet's flame. Egos crumble, but the truth remains. Every scar, a mark of thought's crusade. In the battle, feel the swords of reason. No silence left for indecision. Ideas break with loud precision. We clash our swords of reason. Strike me with logic, I'll plead my proof. We cut through chaos to carve out truth. Let the sparks fly, let the echo scream. This is no debate, it's a metal dream. We clash our swords of reason. In the storm of thought's collision. Forged in fire, pure precision. We clash our swords of reason. Reason bleeds but never dies. No surrender, no retreat. In the war of words, we fight.